Good morning, everyone.
Nobody can hear you. Wait.
I know. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our
September 24th.
September 24th, 2024 Code Enforcement Board hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak at today's proceeding, please stand and raise your right hand. The ones in line, you could just raise your right hand. Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings? Thank you. Please silence all of your devices at this time. Board.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is a volunteer board, and if anybody wants to join us, please talk to the ladies up front. To my far left, the lady standing is the attorney. Then we have Terry. We have Justin, John, Alexander. Olivier. Terry. Vice President, Mr. President. Bill, Don, and Carlos. And my name's Chris. We are here to listen. Please speak directly in to the mics, and all of us, we will do the same. Also, okay, we got punished, but that's okay. And we will start. Let's go.
Our first case is on page 17. Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. It's on page 17 in the middle. Property address 1470 Northwest 21st Street, 1-2. Case number BE 2305-0089. Owner Bernadette Wasom. This case was first heard on 1/30/24 to comply by 3/26/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to impose fines of $2,750, which continues to accrue. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. There are 2 extensions noted.
Good morning, Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
We need your name, and you represent the property. Are you the owner?
Yes, my name is Bernadette Wasom. Turn the mic on.
Push see the red? Okay.
Good morning. My name is Bernadette Wasom. I'm the owner of the property.
Thank you. Are you fixing things? Are you talking to?
Yes, I've been, especially since the last meeting that we've had, I've been in touch with the architect. He's been very helpful. The drafter, also the plumber, and the contractor. They've all been working very hard, overtime really, to sort of get everything in line so that we can be in compliance. I also reached out to Joe to help with the with who I can who can help me really understand what I need to do. Right. Because many times we got information from the Code Enforcement Board, I mean the permit department, and we didn't really understand exactly what to do. And when we submit it again, it would take, a while before well, it's usually about a month. So I reached out to Mr. Joe, and he gave me, he assigned me someone that could help me, Christopher Sperano, I think it was, and he was very, very helpful. In fact, he was even sick, and he called me, and tell me exactly what I needed to do. And this has really helped in us getting a lot of the open things closed. So right now we just have, I think there's 4 areas that needs to be closed that are still open. Out of the 12, there's just 4.
Okay.
And I think we're going to get those done, in the next few days.
And you're talking to the city?
I'm
Yeah.
sorry?
Yeah, she's been in communications with
And what do you think?
the permit is in process.
It's just,
I checked this morning, and there are some comments to be taken care of from yesterday, but they are moving along the process.
I have a question. This is about permits.
Yes, it's
Do
about.
you have permits?
Yes.
Yes.
Applications. They have applications
Applications.
in process. Yes.
You recommended a $5,000 fine, but you say it's moving along.
Now
Is that
they-
what the city thinks?
Right. Lately, they have been pushing it. Yes, there was a period where they submitted the application. There were information missing, and for a few months they didn't do anything. Lately, they started working on it again, and seems to be on track.
In your opinion, is it moving forward sufficiently?
I think so. Yeah.
May I just say, I'm
Sure.
sorry.
no, please.
At first, we used a contractor. The contractor I used, she was, her license was, there was, yes, exactly. So, and I didn't realize that for a few months.
Right.
I kept, talking to her, and she said, everything is all right. But eventually I found out that it was expired. So I had to, that was the holdup. And then I had to get a new contractor.
Right.
And he has been extremely helpful. In fact, he promised that he'll be here this morning. But he's very helpful in responding quickly and getting things together.
So you think you'll have this done before the end of the year?
I think so, definitely.
A question. So she has permits in process going out. She doesn't have the permits. Okay, she doesn't have the permits. So while they're in the process of getting the permit, they can do work on the project?
Actually, the work was already done.
Board members, if you don't mind, if I can, while she has been cooperative in the last several weeks, unfortunately at this time we cannot support any more extensions because the property is currently being used, had been converted and is being used as a sober living facility when it was CO'd as a duplex.
Correct.
So
They took out the interior wall.
I'm sorry?
They took out the interior wall.
Correct. They unified the two spaces, made it into one, and converted the use to a sober living facility.
Correct.
So it's turned into a business. For one, it's a more stringent use requirement. So there's several factors involved. It has gone through plan review. There are several disciplines that have made comments that need to be addressed. She has been cooperative on that end of it, and we certainly will consider that once comes back to us with the fine reduction, and we'll support that because of her cooperation. But at this time, we can't support any more extensions.
Inspector Del Rio, is that your recommendation as well? Is that your position?
I already expressed my position. I've had no opinion on whether giving them more time or not is up to the board.
Has the work performed? Is it a threat to people's safety living there right now?
Come again? Sorry.
The work that was done already, is it a threat to people's safety? You're saying that there's the sober living facility is in operation right now. People are living there. Is the work done without permits, posing a threat to the safety?
Hard to know. We don't know how it was done.
May I?
According to the Florida Building Code, any structure that is occupied without a certificate of occupancy is considered unsafe.
Correct.
Why hasn't the city done an eviction?
Well, we're going through the process of confirming that if there is a violation in place, and we're starting out with not supporting
An extension.
an extension.
May I say something?
Sure, please.
The reason why I made the opening was because some of my residents are in wheelchairs, and it's very hard for them to get out of the building to go into the other part of the building to eat. So that was the reason why.
Yeah, but sometimes you put in walls for fire safeties, so it doesn't take the whole building. You have a firewall.
Right, but this was just a very small area in the living room
It's
that
still
I did.
open.
Yeah. I'm sorry? It's not a nursing home. It's a
Sober rehab.
it's an independent living facility. Yeah.
So are we supposed to be doing a Massey on this?
This is a mess. Yeah.
Yes, this is a Massey.
But if we don't send it to Massey, what?
No,
what
it is a
No,
Massey.
it is a mess.
So it's going automatically.
I mean, you can either impose the fines or not.
Or give
You
them
can
time.
allow an
yes.
But
extension.
he said we can't impose any fines, or we can't impose any extensions.
No, you can. You have the right to
Oh,
an
to the
extension, or
board.
you have the right to impose
Oh,
fines.
they're saying they don't support
We
an
don't
extension,
right.
so we can give them an extension. Okay, go ahead.
Till November.
I move for an extension to January 26, 126 days.
You're gonna talk.
Turn around.
Say it again.
I move for 126 days.
There we go.
Move for a 126-day extension.
Second. January 28th.
122,
January
all
28th.
stapled together this time.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? What?
No.
I do. So we have one opposed and the rest, it passes.
You got to get this done.
You've got to get it done.
I will get it done.
we need
I
is the
promise
permits.
you, I will get
We
it
need
done.
the permits.
I promise you, I will get
Thank
it
you.
done. Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
Terry, you second that motion, right?
I
Yes,
did.
he
I
did.
said 126 days.
Right.
Our next, Alejandro, you're up next too.
But that's the date.
Our next case is on page
it's gotta be
11,
right, yeah.
1350.
All right.
Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, property address 1350 Southwest 32nd Ave, case number CE 2301 0124. Owner Maria Agaton, William Garay. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. Excuse me, can you please lower your voices? This case was first heard on 10/24/23 to comply by 1/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There are 4 extensions.
Good morning, Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the
Do we
city.
do we have anybody up front?
Is there somebody here?
Property owner already obtained the permit. This case is complied.
Oh, it's compliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, Alejandro, you up next again. Page 1.
New case.
It's a new business, page 1. Yeah. Our next case is on page 1. This is a new business case. Property address 2505 Southwest 18th Street. Owner Timothy Walsh. Case number BE 231-00010. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad. Is Mr. Walsh here? 2505 Southwest 18th Street. No? Okay, we're going to recall that. Okay. Moving on to page 3, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 1030 Iroquois Avenue. Owner Stanley A. Hughley. Case number BE 2402-0166. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. Did this owner leave as well? 1030 Iroquois Avenue. Stanley A. Hughley. Okay, we're going to skip that one too. Page 13, 2654 Gulfstream Lane. Thank you. Our next case is on page 13. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 2654 Gulfstream Lane. Owner Amelis and Jesse Lugo. Case number BE 2309-0259. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded and not comply. There is one extension noted.
Compliance, permits are on plan review, and the city is requesting a 126-day extension. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Permit was submitted.
Wait. Name and relation to the property, please.
Melis Lugo, owner of 2654 Gulfstream Lane.
Thank you.
The reason I'm here is to request an extension. The application was submitted to the city about a few weeks ago, and I'm just requesting an extension.
And that's on the fence.
Correct.
Yeah.
I need a motion, please.
I move for a 126-day extension.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Passes.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who made that last one? Terry and Carlos? Okay, thank you. Our next case is on page 12. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 3106 Southwest 14th Street. We have one here for that? 3106 Southwest 14th Street. Okay. Property address, case number BE 231-00123. Owner, Juliver Villain. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24 to comply by 9/24/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not comply.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning. My name is Juliver Villain, the owner of the property.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask for extension. I finally hired a contractor. By history, last time my contractor went away. So I ran away with my money. So I finally hired a new one. We revised the whole planning and the engineer with the architect signatures and planning for it, so we can get the permit soon, and it's already in the process.
And you have been in communication?
Yes, I tried to get with Jorge Martinez. That's why I have to confirm today with his contact number, just to really verify the information that I have on my phone and make sure that that was his contact information.
Do we have a
I
motion?
make a motion for a 126-day extension.
Second.
All agree say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Please get it done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 5. It's a new business case. Property address 2841 North Ocean Boulevard. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Owner, Vantage View, Inc. Case number BE 2405-0036. Excuse me, please lower your voices.
Yeah.
Everything is picking up as we're recording, and it's interfering. Thank you. Notice posted at the property on 8/22/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. Did I say this is a new business case?
Yes.
Okay.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: shoring on the garage. I reviewed the case on 9/23/2024, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your name?
My name is Crystal Ortega.
And what are you?
I'm their property manager for the building. We did have our engineer on record install the shoring to support the beams of the elevated garage, and we did it almost as an emergency basis at that point. And then our engineer has been seeking to apply for the permit after the fact. Just yesterday, we have a permit number, but I believe it's still in process of getting approved through the departments.
have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why was this an emergency? And how many parking places are you taking up? And is there any egress, is there any reason?
We did it just as a safety measure because it is elevated. The main beam that you see right there on that photo had some spalling, and because above it was a drive lane for elevated parking of one level.
Which moves, okay.
Yeah, we put the shoring up just to protect all the areas that were of a concern as a safety precaution.
So that looks temporary.
Mhm.
So what would you do permanently? Would you put beams in there, big ones?
What's the permit?
I don't know, to be honest.
That's just the inspector.
That's to be determined by the engineer.
Excuse me. So,
How long has it been like that?
I'm sorry.
How long has the shoring been up there?
Probably June, July.
And when did you apply for the permit?
Our contractor, engineer, we've been trying to get him to apply ever since then. And with this meeting looming, we just got the number yesterday from them.
How old's the building?
46 years.
So this was like your 40-year inspection that this happened with, or
No.
have you had a 40-year inspection yet?
In 2017, we did.
Okay.
I have a motion.
Were any of these concerns that were brought up during that 40-year inspection?
I don't know. I haven't been the manager that long.
Okay.
So, question for the inspector. So, she said emergency, which cued me right in. Is this a dangerous situation?
Well, I don't know if it was an emergency. When I went the first time, there was an engineering crew working on it, taking samples. And they didn't tell me it was an emergency. But on the upper level, there are no cars right now. It's closed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so
there is no driving?
No.
Correct. We vacated and closed the ramp to get on the upper deck.
I have a motion.
And I just have another question. So, is it a two-level garage?
It's just one level.
Oh, so it's one level on top?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Nubis, I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, that we order the property owners to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded. Second.
Second.
Does anybody want to amend it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I move for a $200 a day fine.
You need
I
to read
second that.
How do you word that?
That's okay. All agree for this amended? All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose? So the fine, do we want to reread it? The whole, at
I
the
move that we
beginning.
find for the city the violation exists as alleged and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by 1/28/2025, or a fine of $200 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
And I have a second?
Second.
And all agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So, yeah.
They need to get on this.
Yes, sir.
This is bad.
Thank you.
Our next case is a hearing to impose fines on page 16. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 1301
I know.
Northwest 7 Terrace. Owner Robin D. Cooper. Case number BE 231-20073. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to impose fines of $2,750, which continues to accrue. Inspector, can you please take that conversation outside?
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Yes, when I first,
Wait, name in relation to the property, please.
Robin Cooper.
Thank you.
And I live there. I am the owner of the property.
Thank you.
And when I first got a notice, it was about my fence. I had to replace the fence totally around the house. So I had to do that. Then I had a couple of other emergencies need to be done, like my air conditioner. So when they came up with the fence, I actually asked the guy when he put the fence up, did I need to get a permit? And he said no. So I let him went ahead on. When I received the paperwork, it's just been chaotic at work, missing the meetings, suffering from allergies, not being able to come in after getting off at 3:30. And I would just like to get one more extension, and I'm ready to get the permit for the fence.
City will recommend a 126-day extension.
Motion, please.
I make a motion for 126-day extension.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 6, new business case, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 208 Southwest 21st Way, owner Taylor Gonzalez, case number BE 2408-0077, notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: concrete on back patio, shaded structure, driveway, bathroom and kitchen remodel, mini splits, garage conversion to in-law quarters, violation 111.1.1, garage converted into a law quarters without obtaining a certificate of occupancy. I reviewed the case on 9/18/2024, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Hi, good morning. My name is Taylor Gonzalez. I'm the owner of the property. Eric from Aruba Permits representing me.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name's Eric from Aruba Permit Services. We're just getting started. New violation, plenty to do here. 126 days seems very reasonable for us to get, all the permit and paperwork submitted and perhaps even approved. So thank you guys.
Was this just purchased?
No, he listed the property for sale, and I guess that's how it started.
Oh, it got flagged.
Yeah.
I need a motion.
I make a motion for 100.
No. It's new business.
New business.
I move that we find from the city and the violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day for violation of the code and recorded.
I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you guys.
Passes.
Have a good day.
Say Merry Christmas.
Chris, who seconded that? Bill. Thank you. Our next case is on page 8, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusi, property address 2710 Northeast 49th Street, owner A 49th Street LLC, case number BE 2403-0016, notice posted at the property on 9/5/24. Is there a representative here? 2710 Northeast 49th Street? Okay, we're going to skip that one. Do I have someone here for 1474 Southwest 19th Avenue? Okay.
He did not stand or raise his hand. Okay.
Our next case is on page 5. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 1474 Southwest 19th Ave. Owner Daniel J. Adams, case number BE 2404-0112. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This is a new business case. Sir, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth at today's proceedings?
I do.
Thank you.
Danny Adams. I'm sorry.
He gets to go first.
Sorry.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: concrete was installed on the swell. I reviewed the case on 9/18/2024.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Yes, sir.
My name is Danny Adams. I'm the homeowner.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got this notice and we're working on getting plans. Spoke to Jorge about how this is going to work. I'm requesting an extension for 126 days.
So he will walk you through it.
Yeah, we already talked about it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All's good.
I move that we find for the city the violation exists as alleged and that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 28, 2025 or fine of $50 per day for violation of the code and reported.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody
Thank you.
disagree? Thank you.
Our next case is on page 1, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 1315 Southwest 22nd Terrace. Case number BE 2404-0142. Owner William Joseph Cooper III and Katura Nicole Smalls. Notice posted at the property on 9/3/24, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard on 9/10/24.
Good morning. Inspector Saragusti on behalf of the city presenting the case as read. I received this case from email regarding construction work without permit for a new kitchen in the addition area. The property was signed for work without permit under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1. The case was opened April 18, 2024. Inspection report was mailed on April 24, 2024. Final notice was mailed on May 29, 2024. Notice of hearing was mailed on September 3rd, 2024. I've been in contact with the customer and there are applications submitted already. We are asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent to speak.
I'm William Cooper. I'm the property owner.
Thank you.
Yeah, like he said, we just bought the property back in March, and the previous owner did some work that wasn't permitted, but I have applied for the permits, and it's in progress.
I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged and that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 28, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation will be imposed and recorded.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
You have time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 14, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 729 Southwest 14th Terrace. Is there anyone here? Owner Ion Levu Codreo, case number CE 2208-0063. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Grove Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 3/26/24 to comply by 7/23/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to amend the 7/23/24 comply by date from 7/23/24 to 7/30/24. There's one extension noted.
And that has to be added into the...
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning. My name is Ian Codrea. I am the property owner, and we work on the property. Everything is blocked. Some demolition had happened, but the city don't let us do it until we have approved plans.
Right.
We did apply last week for new plans, so it's going to be a lot more demolition than just what the inspector wants. So we're just waiting for the city to, do the comments and issue us the permit so I can demolish. It's on the city's hands right now. Yes.
Do I have a motion? And you have to add the dates. Go ahead.
So you said you're waiting to demolish, but this is for is this adding an addition?
Yeah, this is for a second floor, but he's going to demolish it.
It's basically a roof. So it's the roof that has to be removed. It's under the violation.
So I want to demolish the whole thing. It's getting old, and I want to put new. We have plans submitted. So I'm just waiting for the city to approve the plans so I can.
126-day extension.
You have to add the dates.
Move for 126-day extension and request to amend the 7/23/24 comply date from 7/23 to 7/30/24.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 15. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 922 Northwest 4th Ave B, owner 922 LLC, case number BE 231-00156. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24, posted at 1 East Royal Boulevard 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 3/26/24 to comply by 5/28/24. One section at $100 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There is one extension noted.
Jose Saragusti, Building Inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. I will let the respondent speak.
Good morning. My name is Demi Sims. I'm the owner of the property. Since we got the violation, I found a contractor who applied for the permit, took about $20,000 from me, strung me along for this entire time, waiting for permits, plans, etc. I got nothing from them, so I'm moving forward with legal action against them, which will go nowhere, but that's the only option I have. I found a hopefully new contractor, but I definitely found an architect, and I got the plans 7-8 days ago. So I'm doing everything I can. I finally got these plans, so hopefully I can move forward now, get a new contractor to apply for the permit. I got a second violation that I needed to board up the place. I got a notice of hearing of it for today, so I noticed that it wasn't on here, but I'm not sure I'm not sure how that works. But I called a bunch of companies. Nobody would come out on an emergency basis because they only do that if there's like a fire or water remediation. So I called like ServPro, a ton of companies. They told me 3 to 4 months. The contractor said he doesn't do it. I applied for an owner-builder permit myself to do it, but I mean, there's so many requirements. I will try to do it myself, but it's not an easy thing. When I read the requirements, it's like a certain amount of wood and thickness and paint, and it's not just throwing up some wood over the windows. I mean, this place has hurricane impact windows that seem to have still been able to be breached by these people trying to get into it. So it's been a struggle. I'm doing everything I can. I appreciate an extension if
And
allowed.
you're talking with the inspector?
Yeah, I believe my contractor reached out.
She called me, yes.
So we'll continue to be in touch.
I have a question. So this is complete renovation. How much work has been done on it already?
It's only been demoed. Then we got the violation, and it has been sitting demoed with no new work. Like, no work was done. It was demoed, gutted, and then we got the violation, and nothing happened.
Okay. So
Just like sitting empty with nothing in it.
Okay, so hold on one second. I just have a question of the inspector. So I had asked before, when they get a notice like this and they're applying for their permit, can they still work on the project?
No. Until the permit is issued, they cannot start working.
Okay, it wasn't answered
By
before.
the way, the other case for the boarding house, when I came there to the property again, I saw people living there inside.
So
For
it's-
that one, I request the boarding.
So, right, it's squatters, like homeless people, then we call the cops constantly, and the police come and remove them, and then they come back in. And it's like a daily thing that I don't know what else to do. Even with these boards, I don't think a board is going to stop them. I mean, hurricane windows aren't stopping them, and hurricane doors, I don't know.
You have to get a security guard.
The house is
Yeah.
open. The house is open.
Yeah, so that's why I applied for the boarding permit.
The house is open.
Oh, the house.
What do you mean it's open? It's available for anybody to walk
Yes,
in?
everybody can go in. Yes.
So do the doors lock? You said
They
they're...
did.
But they don't.
I don't know. I didn't know that they
Not
don't.
anymore.
I mean, they did. I installed, before all of this started, hurricane impact doors and windows because of it was better for insurance. And I mean, we live in Florida, so I just did that.
Okay.
That was long before with permits and all that. But
Boarding up is next.
boarding up is next. I applied for the permit for that.
How long does it generally take to get a permit for boarding up?
Usually, if you have the complete information in between 30 days, you have it.
I could approve a board up. Joe Pascal, assistant building official. I could approve a board up certificate in 24 hours. So just reach out to me, and that's a simple permit to obtain.
I'll get your information.
Perfect. Okay, we have a motion.
Best we can do is 126 days at this point. Otherwise,
We need noise.
I move that we, that red light. The best we can do is 126 days at this point. That is a considerable amount of time to get most of it going, though. I move that we that we give 126 days extension.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Feel for you.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed.
Get
So,
it
yeah,
done.
please.
Thank you.
Go in there. Thank you very much.
Our next case is on page 16. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 181 Southwest 37 Terrace, case number BE 231-20079, owner Tammy Ann C. and Analdo C. Estime. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to impose fines of $2,750, which continues to accrue. This is a Massey.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is still not in compliance. I'm going to let our respondent speak.
Yes, sir. Name,
Now the owner.
and you're the owner?
Yes.
Okay. And your response or your thoughts, your action?
Right now I'm dealing with a divorce, so the thing I didn't get about it, because I bought the house with the fence like that, because they already had an open for the roof, and everybody expect the fence. Didn't say nothing. After I bought the house, they showed up. They said I need to replace the fence. I was like, fine. I called somebody. They asked $15,000 to replace the fence. I didn't have it, so I just replaced the part that was falling apart. And then they came back saying I needed a permit to replace that same side of the fence. I didn't do the whole fence. I just did the side that was.
Have you talked to the city officials
Yeah, I told
about
him
this? And what did his response was?
that to do that side I needed, but there was already an original fence. I just replaced the broken part and put just.
So he needs to apply for a replacement
No, a fence permit.
fence permit.
There was already a fence there, though.
The fine is going to be more than the fence costs.
Right.
You got to get this done.
Yeah. Even though the fence was there, when you do any repair, if you replace one bracket on it, you have to get a permit for it, unfortunately. So you can't just fix it, even though it's not the entire fence. You still have to get a permit for it, and it has to be approved. So your fixing it didn't kill the project or didn't cure the project. Okay, it just kind of made it worse. So you have to go and apply for a permit. You have to.
And there's reasons why. You don't want to put a fence on somebody else's yard. There's other reasons other than just to get a permit. This,
right.
To make things right.
But unfortunately, this is going to Massey.
This is a Massey.
This is a Massey. So you got to go and apply for the permit, and this is going to a higher court. So before you get to that higher court, you better apply for the permit and get something done.
It's a simple thing.
It's very simple.
And
just
you
go
got
and
a
talk to him.
$2,700 fine coming up. And it's going to get even worse by the time it comes up again. So it'd be a lot easier to go get the permit. That's what this is for.
Thoughts?
I get it. I get the permit.
Thank you very much. So work with the inspector. He will show you the steps, and it'll be fine. It'll get done. And if you are proactive and get it done, then we work through it. But otherwise, doing nothing is the worst thing. Thank you.
Fine's already approved.
Yep, we need to impose the fine, guys.
Why do we need to impose it? It's going to a judge. It's going to Massey.
It is Massey.
It is Massey, so we don't have to do anything more. No more. Nothing, we don't have to. Well, impose the fines.
Correct.
And let it accrue or.
And then when that
It's
time
not
to
compliant.
impose actually comes,
It's not
it
compliant,
can
so
be adjusted.
it should just go to Massey.
It is
It is a
Massey.
mess.
All right, so then we
So
don't
those
have
are, you have to either
We have to
impose the
impose the
fines
fine.
or.
Okay.
Impose the fines or give them
Give
an
an
extension
extension.
until November.
It would be until January.
Don't we have another hearing?
We can give an extension on one, can we?
He's already had extensions.
We have
He's already
one.
had extensions. So with that, I move that we impose the fines.
I second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Nay.
Opposed.
It didn't pass, guys. So
I move we give this gentleman a 126-day extension on fines.
Second.
Do I have a second? All agree, say aye.
Aye.
You got an extension.
Our next case is on page 11. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 807 Southwest 25th Street. Owner Brian McSwain. Case number BE 24030004. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24.
11.
To comply by 9/24/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number not addressed as read. Case is not in compliance. The city is requesting for a 126-day extension.
Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Brian McSwain. I'm the homeowner. I was here last time. I went through a program called PACE to get financing to do my roof.
Okay.
Well, they gave me, some contractors started calling me, I guess that's affiliated with the PACE, and one of them was WSR Roofing. And they told me that they were going to take care of everything. Well, apparently they didn't, because there's 2 permits that they didn't pull, one for the gable end and one for the ceiling. And I keep calling them, reaching out to them, and they keep telling me the same thing. They're working on it. And apparently now I'm believing that they're not working on it, and they've just been lying to me the whole time. They've already got their money, and
They
I'm
got their
sorry.
money from PACE.
Pardon me?
They got their money from PACE.
Well, they got the money from the finance company,
Correct.
Home Run Financing or Renew. I forget which one it is. So now that they got their money, they don't want nothing to do with me. And the owner, I talked to the owner, and he said that he was going to contact Jorge and get it resolved. And I thought that happened, but apparently it didn't happen. So they're just lying to me. And now, I don't have a lot of money. I could try and get the permits, but this guy was telling me now I got to get an engineer and do this. Well, I paid them to do all this, you know?
Do you have an opinion?
At this moment, I want to work with him, and the city is going to request a 126-day extension.
Okay. And then,
Second.
all agree, say aye. Aye.
I appreciate it very much. I'll work on getting the
And then make sure
permits.
that PACE knows what you're going through.
I'd get a lawyer, too.
Yeah, I'm right. I just talked to a guy that said that he actually gave me a contact to a lawyer. Another problem I have is I don't have the contract somehow.
Well, you got an extension.
All right.
That's
I
all we
appreciate.
can do.
All right, I appreciate it very much. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Jorge, very much. All right.
Our next case is on page 4. It's a new business case. Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 1478 Southwest 19th Ave. Case number BE 2404-0111. Owner Natalie Schultz Katz and Jeremy Katz. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: concrete was installed on the swell. I reviewed the case on 9/23/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Sorry. Good morning, Natalie Katz. So we did that at the time the concrete wall was done. That permit was approved. We did an addition. This is all on the final survey and was approved. I didn't know that it was not part of that permit. So then I met with Carmen, literally drove down, son and all, to Carmen. So she tried to help me. I tried to do a homeowner permit, but because it's on the swale, it wasn't allowed. So then we circled back to applying for a permit, and then the standstill was the engineering plans, because, you know, I've been working with Taylor Phillips because of the pavers on the swale. Basically, the cheapest engineering plans we have found is about $2,300 to $2,600. So, but we don't know if it could be approved. So we're just back and forth on that. So we just need a little bit more time to get the engineered
Yeah,
plans.
the swale is for drainage, so that's the problem.
Yeah.
So I don't.
We've just been back and forth on, you know, getting there's already a permit application and everything is submitted. I mean, everything is there. The only thing that's pending now is the engineered plans.
Motion.
This is new business?
Yes.
I move that we find to the city of the violation of this as alleged, that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 25th. I move that we find for the city and the violations exist as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by January 26, 2025, or
28.
2025, sorry, or a fine in the amount of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No.
So to confirm, there's no fine until the extension. Okay, just making sure.
I give microphones.
Our next case, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti on page 8, property address 2460 Bimini Lane, owner Neil Feliciano, case number BE23110172. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not comply. There's one extension noted.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not comply. I will let the respondent to speak.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Neil Feliciano. I am the property owner. Good news, finally. All the permits have been completed, and work is scheduled to be completed this week, and final inspection called by Friday or early next week. So hopefully everything will be closed by next week.
All right. Is this new business? No.
Yeah.
No, it's regular business.
Right.
I move for a 126-day extension.
Second. I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any-
Takes 6 months.
Our next case is a new business case on page 1, Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, property address 1820 Southwest 22nd Ave, owner Anna Lee M. Andrews, case number BE23100117. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard on 9/10/24.
Inspector Saragusti, on behalf of the city, presenting the case as read. I received the case from an email regarding construction work without permit, tiki hut and elevated deck closer than 5 feet from the rear property line. The property was sited for work without permit under Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1, and City Ordinance 47-19.2.p. The case was opened on November 12, 2023. Inspection report was mailed on November 12, 2023. Final notice was mailed on December 18, 2023. And notice of hearing was mailed on August 29, 2024. The case is not complied, but there are a permitting process. They went to the board and the adjustment, and for that we are asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come in compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter. I will let the respondent speak.
Hi, Annalie Andrews, owner of 1820 Southwest 22nd Ave. It's been a long process working with the Board of Adjustment. On September 11th, the meeting there, they approved all of our variances. So now we just have to wait to get the permits finalized. The only thing is that I guess they can't ratify the approvals until the next Board of Adjustment meeting. So this just happened September 11th. So once that's ratified, then I guess the permits can go through.
When is the next board meeting for the variance?
I'm assuming like October 12th or something, like 1 month after. Yeah.
I have a question. What is the setback for 5 feet from the property line? Is that from the seawall?
No, it's the back of the property, and usually depend of the zoning area, it can be 10 feet or something.
Depends on the area.
Right.
So
Depend of the zoning.
It's 5 foot
Yeah,
there.
depend of the
And
zoning area.
Second question is, will that comply?
Yes,
Is that why it's at the Board of
board
Adjustment?
approved
They did,
the
okay.
exception for that one. Is the only missing part is the issue the permit.
Right, so it's,
I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
I second.
all agree, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You have plenty of time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 4. This is a new business case, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 1521 Northwest 3rd Ave. Owner 1521. I said 1531? 1521 Northwest 3rd Ave. Owner 1521 Northwest 3rd Ave Holdings LLC. Case number BE24040040. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: new windows. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter, and they already applied for the permits.
We applied for a permit.
Your name and...
My name is Jorge Enriquez, 1521 Northwest 3rd Avenue.
And that is, you're the owner?
I'm the owner.
Okay.
We applied for the permits, and we actually hired a contractor, and they are like submitting everything to them, and an architecture too.
And you're in contact with?
In contact with,
Perfect.
communication with Mr. Martinez.
Perfect.
Yeah, he's helping us with everything.
I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
Thank you.
Second.
And I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
You have
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 2. It's a new business case, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 301 Southwest 2nd Street. Case number BE231-00214. Owner 1129 Van Brunt LLC, 129 Van Brunt GP LLC, and all others. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. The property was cited for the following violation: Florida Building Code 2023-105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to. The building interior was completely gutted, replacement of roof, structural members in carport and porch. Case was opened on March 21st, 2024. Inspection report was mailed to the property owner on March 22nd, 2024. Final notice was mailed to the property owner on May 24th, 2024. Notice of hearing was posted at the property on September 9th, 2024. City is asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Alejandro, this is 301 Southwest 2nd Street.
As the wrong case in the second.
Yeah. 301 Southwest 2nd Street. Yeah.
I didn't want to. You were saved.
It was not good.
You
got your save.
Good catch, ABO. Good catch.
Second chance.
He was sweating.
Okay, just try to forget about that.
It didn't happen.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city presenting case BE 23100214, property address 301 Southwest 2nd Street. Property was cited for the following violation: Florida Building Code 2023-105.1. There is a new wood fence at the front of the property along 2nd Street that was installed without permits. Case was opened on October 26, 2023. Inspection report was mailed to the property owner on October 30, 2023. Final notice was mailed to the property owner on February 23, 2024. Notice of hearing was posted at the property on August 27, 2024. We are asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Your turn.
Yes, Kevin Berman on behalf of the ownership of the property. And while I am here on behalf of them, it's, the issue that is cited there, the ordinance specifically, is the tenant who erected that, their planters, to solve a separate issue which has been going on now for probably 2 decades in the area, maybe longer. I think you're probably all aware of it. But I would just ask that no fines be considered at this point because the property is located in the historic district, and today I have the tenant and their GC with me who have been trying to come up with an approvable solution to why that was originally put up there to begin with. And I think that if I was to say to them, you got to remove it because we're being fined, it's going to create a burden on the city, especially now with the statutes that came into effect after this ordinance has been issued. So I'd like to let you, if you want to hear.
Yes, please.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Angel Candelaria. I'm the business owner. And the reason we put those there is because when we took over the business, there was homeless people pretty much encamped there, and every day we would come to work to fix the place up, and there was drug needles and human waste, and they were plugged in and they were basically cooking food and living there. So we, in a hurry, we put those up, and I think, we try to do something that looked nice and fit the neighborhood, and I can't see any other way to keep them out, because even if you go there right now, there's somebody in front of the building plugged in, just sitting in the street, and if you go to the back of the building, there's like 2 more homeless guys there, and it's impossible to keep them out. So, I mean, that's basically
The
why we
fence
did that.
permit is the problem. How about
We've
potted
applied
plants?
for the permit. It was just, I'll let my GC speak on that.
How's it going? Luigi Coloma, I'm their contractor for the nightclub. I did all the interior work, fully permitted, we passed all our inspections, and when they called me after we closed everything, he brought this fence to my attention. It's not necessarily a fence, it's planters. We had our engineer draw plans stating everything. They did a 3-point triangle. We submitted for it. The first review didn't come back. The first review came back, and we went ahead and fixed everything that was said. And we just got an email the other day from the zoning from Michael Rinkus that we can't even get that second review until Historic approves it. So to Historic, we're waiting for Historic to buy, and we are.
They take a long time.
Yeah, they take a long time, and time keeps going. The engineer takes a long time. Everyone's just, it's a long process, and we just want to try to either keep it there, resolve this through Historic, because it does help the safety of the club, and it looks way better than it being open like that.
Correct.
So we want to try to get the extension and wait for historic to approve this because I'm sure, they can, or we have temporary solutions if they don't approve it.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, first of all, this is a club.
Yeah, it's on Second
Yes, it's right across the street.
It's
Yes,
the
it's
old,
a new nightclub.
yeah, it's the old 00 Saloon.
Oh, it was right here.
Right.
And when did you find out about the problem with this fence or planters? When did you find out about it?
Around December of last year.
December of last year, and you applied for the permits and all that? back
No.
then?
So originally we reached out to the architect and engineer that did all our plans for the interior, and he drew out the first fence. I applied for the permit.
When?
And probably in February.
February of this
Yeah,
year?
after I got the plans.
Okay.
Folks, just to give you a little, shed some light on this, the structure, the biggest concern is the historic designation of the structure on the corner. It is the first gas station, I believe, that was built in 1929 or so. So
Yeah.
it's more about that than it is about a fence.
Yeah, the fence wasn't part of the original structure.
I'm sorry?
Fence wasn't part of the original
Correct.
historic
It was
structure.
installed after some unfortunate, there's some inconveniences and they're trying to beautify it. Unfortunately, it conceals the historic value of that corner. So I believe that's going to be their biggest hurdle. Fence is not so big of an issue other than going through the process. The approval from the Historic Preservation Board
So
is
make
going
it
to be
look
the
like a
hurdle.
gas
So they don't
station.
meet, I think they only meet once every month, I believe, but it's
Not
getting.
even that.
I'm sorry?
It's not even that, but yeah, they don't meet.
Not even that, yeah.
Hopefully to get it within the next month to get the review. I mean, we've been waiting almost 2. Everything's been sent. They asked for a new survey. They got a new survey. We uploaded everything that we need to, and we're just kind of waiting to see. And when this hearing came up, I was like, well, let's all go and see what we can do.
Well, we're bound by an ordinance.
Right, I have a question. What's the occupancy load of that building?
Right off the bat.
I'm sorry? Okay, my concern is more of a fire safety. Is that enough? I know there's a formula for exits and all that. By putting all that there in case there's an emergency, are you in compliance with that?
Yeah. We have numerous exits around the building, everywhere. Upstairs, the staircase outside, and downstairs, everywhere.
But as far as like if they all funnel out, before we used to be open, everyone could get out. I'm just concerned about that. So.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Line queue for when people are coming in to stop everyone from spilling over from the streets, which is really what goes on there when they're open. The actual main entrance and exit to the building and egress are all separate. No one would come out that exit anyway.
Let's hope that the city is able to clean things up for you. I have a motion.
Yeah.
You're about to get a Christmas present.
May I?
Yes, please.
I move that we find for the city of violations exist as alleged that we owe to the property owners to come into compliance by 126, is it? 128, 2025, or amount of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
Second.
I would second that.
Okay, you need to start all over again, please.
Sure, amend it.
So I move that we find for the city and the violation exists.
It's not going to be approved.
Property owners to come in compliance by March 25th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It passes. So you have time,
Thank you.
Yeah, that should be more than enough time.
but you might have to make it look like a gas station.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
I don't think they'll ever approve that, but good luck.
I don't either.
Board, at this time, the city is requesting a brief recess.
Okay.
Thank you.
The city's requesting.
Page 3, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 24401 Northeast 26th Ave. Owner Andrea Fisher. Case number BE 24020181. Notice posted at the property on 9/5/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits. In the following manner, but not limited to, a new shaded structure. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Do we have pictures?
It's a white thing?
Okay, whatever.
Okay.
For an extension. I met with the zoning. It took me about a month to meet with zoning department just to make sure it was rubber stamped before I went to all the plans. Then I went immediately to the surveyor, updated it. Then it's in the PE's office. It should be finished today, this week, and then submitted immediately. But I just want to make sure everything was okay before I submitted plans, not get rejected or anything like that. So I just need a little bit more time.
What's it made of? What is it made of?
It's it looks like PVC. It's really well constructed. PVC kind of material. I'm not a constructor, but
Plastic. It's not an awning.
no, it would be considered like a pergola or a shade structure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's new construction. I need somebody new to speak.
I move that we found that the city and the violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owner to come into compliance by January 28, 25, or a fine of $50 per day per violation will be imposed and recorded.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
You have
Thank
time.
you. Thank you.
Our next case is on page 12, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 139 Southwest 21st Way. Owner Jeanette Thin. Case number BE 23090199. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24 to comply by 9/24/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number not as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning. My name is Janet. I'm the owner. I've been in contact with Inspector Martinez, and we provide the plans, the survey. The reviewers from the city are requesting more details, more responses, and it's the architects that are actually taking a little bit of more time. I would say that hopefully this is going to be resolved in another couple of weeks. So I'm requesting just an extension if it's possible.
The city is requesting for a 126-day extension.
Do I have a motion, please?
Second.
I have a.
Did we read the motion?
He just asked for an extension.
It's not new business. Okay. Yeah. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, it passes.
Thank you.
Who made the motion? Bill, and who seconded? Thank you. Our next case is a new business case on page 2, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, property address 1301 Northwest 2nd Ave, owner ITEX Consulting Inc., case number BE 24030134, notice posted at the property on 9/9/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard 9/10/24.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. Property was cited for the following violation: Florida Building Code 2023-105.1. Building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: building interior was completely gutted. a replacement of roof structural members in carport and porch. This case was opened on March 21st, 2024. Inspection report was mailed to the property owner on March 22nd, 2024. Final notice was mailed to the property owner on May 24, 2024. Notice of hearing was posted at the property on September 9, 2024. City is asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Yes, sir.
Elkin Sanchez, I'm the owner of the property. Just asking for the permits to be come out of the city. They've been with the city, and
But you acknowledge that he's doing this work without permits.
we bought that property. It was a distressed property. If you guys look in your system, it's been in your system. We started cleaning out stuff. There was a roof permit issued by you guys, and all that was wrong, done wrong, rotten. I even challenged Alejandro, like, how could the city approve that permit, be on record with that permit saying that it was a roof that was replaced by the city, and it's not legally violable. But anyway,
The city replaces roofs?
the city approved a roof replacement. We bought it with a brand new roof, and that is
But
totally.
you knew enough to apply for a permit.
I'm sorry?
You know you didn't have a permit.
No, it was a permit. It's permitted through the city. We bought it with under that.
Is that transferable?
Yeah. So I have no idea who approved that. But anyway, it's water under the bridge. All I want is an extension to bear. So the permit's already in your guys' city, so you guys just have to approve it for us to continue to do what we have to do.
New business.
I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owner to come into compliance in 126 days, or a fine of $50 per day per violation will be imposed and recorded.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? You have time.
Thank you very much, guys.
No, thank you.
Our next case is on page 15, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 1632 Northwest 7th Ave. Owner, Claramine and Francis St. Fleur. Case number BE 23010070. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 Eastboro Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 11/28/23 to comply by 1/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not comply. There are 4 extensions noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning. My name is Francis St. Fleur. I'm the owner of the house, 1632 Northwest 7th Ave.
So what's happening with it?
So what happened is, I will have a problem. Right now, I went to the city. They just give me that to fill for the plumbing. That's it. Everything is already done. That's it. I'm going to fill it, and then everything be all right.
Okay, so as I understand it, he's got something for plumbing, and once that plumbing is done, then it's complied.
No, plumbing not done. I'm going.
There are no permits applied for yet.
Oh, you're applying
Yes,
for the permit?
yes.
Then why didn't you do it earlier?
But I need like 2, 3, 4 months.
I know, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. We've seen you a while.
You've been here before.
You're popular.
I before, but I have so many things to be done. Plumbing, electric, whatever. But only this.
Okay, well.
You have a recommendation, sir?
I'm going to let the board decide.
Thank you very much.
Last time, I moved for a 126-day extension.
Second.
That's 4 months. It's a simple thing. Fix it. Get it?
3 months. 3 months.
Oh, wait. I haven't said anything. And I have a second?
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose? I oppose.
Get it done.
No, go now. The day's young. You can go today.
Before we change our mind. No, seriously, it's
Yeah,
almost.
I understand you. You support me. Thank you for that.
Our next case is on page 9. Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 2671 East Commercial Boulevard. Owner Sofico 14 LLC. Is there a response? Okay. Case number BE 23010185. Notice posted at the property on 9/5/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 10/24/23 to comply by 1/30/24. Two sections at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There are 4 extensions noted.
Welcome back.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. There is a permit applied for. It needs corrections since May and nothing has been submitted. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Good morning, everybody. Fitz Murphy, Senga Architecture. I am the architect for the property. Apologize for being here again. It's been a journey. We're actually currently at the county. One of the comments that we had was to get county approval. We do have one of the certificates for DERM, but we're also for DER, but we're also missing asbestos, which has been a bit of back and forth. We had some minor demo, and we didn't think that we needed an asbestos survey for that. We went back and forth with the county, and they determined that it doesn't matter. We did it before the fact, so we have to provide that proof. We have provided at the beginning of September, we did provide that information. We did a survey, and we're just waiting now for the approval from the county for the asbestos to get the asbestos certificate that we can submit. So we're just waiting for all the documents to be ready so that we can submit to the city for a second round, which the asbestos certificate is the last thing that we're missing.
And everyone remembers, this is not just the city. He had to go through the county and, okay.
I did not give him an update until I think probably yesterday on this, because I've been just waiting so long that I was hoping to get the approval, but I did try to give him an update. I will be better on that in the future.
I move for 126-day extension.
Second.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody disapprove?
You're doing everything you got to do.
Thank you. We're trying our best. The client is also impatient as well, so we want to get this closed out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Our next case is on page 11, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 2308 Southeast 18th Street. Owner, Russ's Property LLC. Case number BE24020112. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There is 1 extension noted.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. There is a permit application in process. It has some comments on it, dated 9/13, but it is in process. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
I press.
Wait. The red is on?
Yeah.
So then it was on. Hi, my name is Bridget. I'm the property manager. Like he mentioned, we do have the permit in the city. We're working on getting everything submitted. Any comments have been addressed, and we have a survey that's being received today. But we are absolutely in the process of getting this resolved, so we're just asking for additional time until the permit's issued.
Make a motion for a 126-day extension.
All approve, say aye. Aye. Anybody disapprove? It passes. You have time.
Thank you.
And what's the date?
January 28th,
January
2025.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Our next case is on page 3. Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, property address 1249 Northwest 18th Street. Owner, I Love Florida Real Estate LLC. Case number CE 24040860. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read. This property was cited for the following violation: Florida Building Code 2023-105.1. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: interior renovation and including the removal of a kitchen wall. This case was opened on April 27, 2024. Inspection report was mailed to the property owner on April 30, 2024. Final notice was mailed to the property owner on June 11, 2024. Notice of hearing was posted at the property on September 9, 2024. City is asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
Name in relation to the property?
Good morning to all. Thank you for your good work. Alessandro Moran Peralta, property manager, owner, I Love Florida Real Estate. I've been totally handicapped emotionally, financially by the tenants that call the city. I understand. That's why I named the company I Love Florida Real Estate, because I love real estate. Every angle of a building I love. But this tenant was harassing I already had a contract for sale for this property. Everybody in the tenants that they were rented by rooms or like friends that used to live in the house. But the only person that didn't move was the person that was living in the master bedroom that called the city. I had to deal with her for 4 months in court. That totally handicapped me, like I said before. My packets are empty. The little wall there, it was just a cabinet. I just need extension to take care of this business. And I'll do my best to take care of everything 126 days. Imagine anybody providing a service for 4 months and not getting paid for it. It's not easy. I know the city wants everything to be nicely, me too. But if you're not getting paid for a service, how am I gonna get it done? The floor, like I read in the city, it doesn't need a permit for tiling. The little wall there is probably maybe like 2 feet. I don't know if that needs a permit. But
Talk to the inspector. We're not builders.
I apologize to the inspector and whoever I didn't respond, but I've been totally handicapped in every way, and that's why I'm over here, because I don't want to be running from no problem. I want to take care of the issue.
You know, that's why you need to be proactive and speak to the inspector.
Like I said, miss,
Yeah.
a person that has a mental state and able to take care of things, sometimes you got to step up. That's why I'm here.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So have you applied for the permits?
Well, I'm going to check to see if I need a permit with a contractor.
I think that's, yeah, go ahead.
Well, you definitely need permits because you have removal of the kitchen wall and whatever interior renovation.
Yeah, and
So
you-
it has to be,
The only interior renovation is the floor, which is, you don't need a permit for floor according to the Fort Lauderdale.
If you look at that picture there, the previous picture, you can see that the whole kitchen was removed and the partition wall that was in front of the kitchen was removed, and it was not an E-wall. You see the opening in the ceiling where the wall used to meet the ceiling. So it's all right there.
Yeah.
I will contact whoever I need to contact to resolve the issue.
you have a contractor?
No, I will find one within the time that you're to come into compliance.
I'd like to make a motion. I move that we fine for the city and the violations exist as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine in the amount of $50 per day per violation will be opposed and recorded.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody disagree? So you have time, but I wouldn't wait 100 and something days. I would like start tomorrow, because paperwork takes time. So if you're doing paperwork and you're going forward and you're talking to the inspector, it'll be fine. It'll continue until you get the project done. But just don't.
communicate with them.
Yeah, don't.
Just start the process. The rest is easy.
I appreciate it. Thank you all.
And if you
Thank
say
you.
that you don't need a permit, ask the question to the inspector whether or not you do need a permit. He will tell you.
Yeah, it looks like you need a lot.
All right. Thank you.
Good luck.
Our next case is on page 16, the hearing to impose fines. Senior Inspector Jose Saragusti, Property address 5321 Northeast 24th Terrace, 502A. Owner Zachary Sloboda. Case number BE 2308-0395. Notice posted at the property on 9/5/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 11/28/23 to comply by 3/26/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to impose fines of $3,100, which continues to accrue. There are 2 extensions noted.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. I will let the respondent to speak.
Zachary Sloboda, I'm the property owner. We have 3 of the 4 permits in the process or completed. We passed electrical inspection. I actually just got response from a plumber like 2 hours ago. They're going to do the plumbing, so that one will. That's the only one that's missing right now. As far as the structural permit for just the remodeling of, it's just a 1-bedroom condo. I think our drawing, our plans, and our electronic signature was the only thing that was. We signed something instead of doing an electronic signature, and so they just had an issue with the review. But the documents that were sent, my contractor was under the impression that it had to be an architectural plan, and he kind of was like, no, this is what they're requiring. Me and Jose had spoken, and he said it was just a little bit more detail on the drawing, and then electronic signature factor was with the city, or the review person.
Okay.
So I think we're within the week, hopefully, of getting an answer on that. It just sounded like, like I said, just a little bit more detail on the drawing, and I need to learn how to use a
This is a
computer.
Massey, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
So I need an extension or to acknowledge.
The city will support the extension. Yeah. Yes, I agree. The city support the extension and stop the fines.
It is a Massey.
Move we give this gentleman a 126-day extension to comply.
And stop the fines.
And stop those fines.
I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 18, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 840 Northeast 17th Terrace. Owner S.N. Reeves Properties, LLC. Case number BE 23120071. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. 2 sections at $100 per day. Order recorded, not complied. City is requesting to impose the fines of $11,000, which continues to accrue. This is a Massey hearing.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, updating case as read. There have been no progress on this case. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Hello.
Bring it down a bit.
Sorry. We first got the case. Denise Romero, I'm the property manager. The owner lives out of the country. When we first got the case, we purchased this property about 2 years ago. We purchased the property with it being 17 units. And according to the city, when we first got the fines, it's only 11 units. Seller and the brokerage. In the meanwhile, I have spoke to the inspector, and I told him that what I can do in the meanwhile, because obviously having to rezone everything and apply for another 6 units is going to take longer than me having to maybe displace my tenants and empty out the units, so it becomes what the city had before. I emptied out 2 units already. There's the other 3 or 4 units that I'm going into kind of like a cash for your unit contract. And there's 2 units that are still in leases because these tenants have been there for years. And so they're giving me a little harder time, and they want to stay there. They have like 6 months for each unit. And so I'm not going to comply with those 2 units faster than 6 months.
So they took all the units and made them into efficiencies?
So basically what they did is that it was like a hotel back then, and so what they did is like close the door and make little units here and there, and that's how they sold it to us. So it turned out to be like 17 units that we bought, and
I thought this was okay.
and the huh?
At the time, the buyer.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, we obviously have 17 leases and 17 estoppels with people living in 17 units with getting 17 mail. The mailbox has 17. So I mean, we have obviously there's a litigation. There's going to be a lawsuit involved, but for me to get this case resolved, the only thing I feel that it's fast enough is that if I do get it back to the 11 units. But in order for me to do that, I would have to displace tenants. And I'm working on it. It's just...
That's where we were last time, I think.
Huh?
That's where we were last time, wasn't it?
No, no one came to the last meeting
Nobody
because
showed up last time.
Yeah, the owner's out of the country.
That's why we're in a messy.
Yeah. The owner's out of the country, and now he gave me power of attorney in order for me to speak for him, for us to resolve this in a faster way, because he wanted to keep 17 units because that's what he bought. But realistically, I spoke to the inspector, it's just going to take us longer to do that process than having to me just empty out the rooms for now.
Problem is, nothing's happened.
So the other question is...
No, I can't demo because it's the units, huh? No, the thing is that the layout's the same. All they did was basically shut a door and leave that unit like to rent it out. So the layout is like identical. They just added extra door because it's like I said, it was a hotel. So the doors were there already existing that opened up to another room. So it's like a maze in there.
so that it should be a 2-bedroom and they made it into 2 single
Correct.
Got it.
So it needs to go back to a 2-bedroom,
Mhm.
which the owner could get more rent for than...
Yes.
I know.
Ultimately, he wants the 17 units, but I can't. I'd rather close his case and then deal with having to get permits, zoning, figure out engineering and all that, and figure out how to get back to the 17 units because there's a parking issue. I only have 19 parkings, and it's so much going on, and I only have 12 meters. So there's so much involved in it that I'd rather just empty out the units, show that it's empty, put it back to 11 units, and go from there because that's the case. The violation is because I have 17 units. It's not because I made extra rooms. The rooms were already there.
They just made it into all efficiencies or 1-bedrooms.
Madam Chair, if I could. Sorry, I'm back here today.
Please.
Yeah, sorry. I have to speak at least once. Rhonda Montoya Hassan with the City Attorney's Office. If you look at BCPA today, I'm not saying that the property owner didn't do due diligence, but even to this day, the property appraiser shows 11 units. They're only paying taxes on 11 units, not the additional units. And I think for the city's perspective, the city cannot support an extension that would allow the tenants in the illegal units to just stay there until their lease ends. I mean, at the end of the day, that's going to be incumbent upon the property owner to figure out a solution. But we would not be supportive of an extension to allow them to just live out their lease terms, and then the owner's going to figure out what it may do, and then the lawsuit, which could go on for years and years and years. I mean, it's not even being taxed in relation to the occupancy, and of course, I'm assuming that the property owner is receiving rent for all of those illegal units as well. So we are not supportive of an extension at this point. When the property owner comes into compliance, they can go through lien amnesty, which at least through next October is in place, and that provides great relief for property owners.
A motion.
The choices are an extension or fines and be imposed.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I move. I have a motion.
Go ahead.
I move that we find that the violations were not complied with the date order, and we impose a fine of, no, that's the wrong one, right?
It's $11,000 fine.
Oh, yes, fine of $5,500, $11,000 for the days which the property was out of compliance. Go through the rest of the process and then.
And continue to accrue.
Which will continue to accrue.
approved. Now,
I'm confused. Can you read the statement, the motion? Do you want to send it to Massey or not?
No, it is a Massey.
Right, so do we want to extend?
No.
No,
I don't
you
want
know,
to.
he wanted to
The
impose
owner
a
needs to
fine.
get something going, you know.
I'll second that.
But the city is not.
City doesn't want an extension.
No, right.
That's why I moved
Made
for
that
a.
recommendation, that motion.
It's,
He did this one.
I move that we find the violations were not complied with by the date order, and therefore they impose a fine of $11,000 or $5,000 per section per violation as stated in the first order.
Second.
I read the wrong one. Okay.
I second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
No.
I oppose, I think.
You need to go through the legal actions to get them out, and this will be reassessed.
There's 3 opposed, and the rest say aye, agree, so it passes.
3 and 3.
Terry?
I'm just unclear. I'm not clear what exactly they're going to be doing. That's what I'm not clear about.
It just sits until they clean it up, and they have to pay the fines.
So it just sits until they clear it out. It's for 126 days.
If they're only paying taxes on 11.
Right, so we want them to pay the taxes.
They're not paying taxes on the balance. That's why the city's against it.
Okay.
In other words,
In other words, what?
they bought it,
I know, I realize that. And I would like them to pay the taxes on it. So his motion is for. Favorable to that. Okay, so I retract that. I agree. So it's a yay. It's a yay.
Jamie, you heard that?
so
Ter-
the
Terry
rest of-
took back his no. He agrees. He's a yay, not
Yeah,
an A.
so it's, yeah, just 2 opposed.
Yeah.
It still passes.
Yeah.
So the fines are in place. You still need to talk with the city and get it done faster than lower. You can't wait the 6 months until the people get out.
I wasn't asking for 6 months.
I didn't say that. I mean, for the owner's mind.
Yeah, because we're, like I said, we're working on cash for units, so, I mean, it's just a little bit longer. I
This can
obviously
be-
don't have all the units.
This fine can be looked at again sometime down the road. They need to move forward with something.
I know, but we're displacing tenants for a long time that
I
they've been there.
understand. This sort of is a delay, and to
Okay.
some degree. It's all we have.
All right, thank you.
Our next case is on page 11 at the bottom.
Needs to get moving.
Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. Property address 2554 Will Harbor Lane. Owner Peter Michael Waldrop. Case number BE 24030139. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24 to comply by 9/24/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
Hi, my name is Michelle. I'm one of the contractors for the property owner. I did submit, and I'm in the middle of corrections for the after-the-fact EC unit. It seems that once I got the corrections, I did a little bit more research, and the unit was replaced back in 2020. The property owner bought that house in 2023, so I completely understand that it's on his responsibility to adhere to. It's just a little complicated because I don't have any existing and any of the old information for the existing unit that was there. And the plan reviewer is kind of leaning towards wanting some or getting some load calculations, which of course I've contacted, an MEP engineering firm to try to kind of help me speed through that process. I also have a little bit of trying to figure out also some of the certificates because the unit was discontinued back in 2022. So I'm in the process of organizing and getting all this information. I just need some more time because I need now an engineer to do load calcs and so on and so forth.
Inspector, what's your recommendation?
City won't oppose on an extension.
They will approve it. They won't oppose. Okay, I move for 126-day extension.
Is this a commercial building?
No, it's a house, single-family resident.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, it passes. You have time.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 17, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 1440 Southwest 30th Street. Owner TAH 2017-2 Borrower LLC. Case number BE23080390. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. Two sections at $50 per day. Order recorded, not comply. The city is requesting to impose fines of $5,500, which continues to accrue. This is a Massey hearing.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, updating case as read. There have been no progress on this case. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
How you doing? John Scalia, realtor for the property. We are selling the property. We didn't know about these fines till later on after we saw that they bought it like this. We did start it, and then I think he told me earlier today that it kind of stopped in June with all the plans. The reason was part of his worker kind of had a stroke and went into the hospital, and it kind of got pushed away. So I actually just called him today and told him that it wasn't until June, that the plans need the revisions. He said he's going to work on it. My here is trying to get an extension, so I have the buyer here actually, and he's willing to take on the issues of the permits and the violations. If we can get the fine removed and get a little bit of an extension, maybe 60 days, I can close the property and he can take on the fines.
And you represent the owner?
The owner, correct.
Do I have any motion, because this is a Massey? Are you going to?
Can we do an extension on
Yes,
this
you
one?
can.
I move for a 126-day extension.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose? You have time.
Yeah, the fines are removed or that, or?
No, they continue to accrue.
As of that 126 days, or like it's still up today and tomorrow?
Get it in compliance, and
Then they can be.
Extension, the fine stop.
Right, but the fines, are they started next tomorrow and the next day is still $50, or is it delayed?
I believe if there's an extension, it stops.
Yeah, that's what I would think, yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Doesn't it continue to accrue?
Right, it's still $5,500, but it stops until that 126 days. Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Our next case is on page 7. Senior Inspector Jose Sadagusti. Property address 1312 Northwest 15th Terrace. Owner U&S Investment Group 1, Inc. Case number BE23030202. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/25/23 to comply by 11/28/23. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There are 3 extensions noted.
Jose Saragusti, Building Inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. I will let the respondent to speak.
Yes, sir.
Audrey James, the owner of the property, 1312 Northwest Finteras. We we applied for a permit. We're just waiting for the permit to be approved. That way we can finalize the work.
So you've got the paperwork in for a permit?
Yes.
Have you been speaking to the inspector?
I called him a couple of times. I was unable to reach him, but we talked this morning. I let him know that we submit the blueprint for a permit.
Does he have his paperwork in and everything for a permit?
I saw the application in the system. It was submitted on September 16,
Yeah, you're
and this
a little
is
slow.
126-day extension.
Do I have a second? No second? No second. So what would you guys like to do? We can set it for a Massey, which means don't talk, or we can do another motion.
If it's after Massey, he's not going to see us until the 26th. Until the 26th.
I know. He still gets the time.
Yes, that's correct. He gets the time without.
You still get the time. It's just a matter of at the end of the time, we don't keep going. You get more time. You get more time.
I understand.
Okay?
Sure.
So it's set for Massey.
That's more than enough time.
anyway. The Massey will be in 4 months. In the meantime, you can have the permit issue, and it will be complied.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Our next case is on page 14. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 962 Northwest 53rd Street. Owner ACS 960 LLC. Case number BE 22120016. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 10/24/23 to comply by 11/28/23. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There are 5 extensions noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. I'm going to let the respondent speak.
I'm sorry, before you, were you sworn in? Because you signed it last.
Yes, I was, yes.
Okay, thank you.
At the front desk.
Okay.
Good morning. My name is Jordan Brown. I am the property manager for ACS 960 LLC. So we're at the goal line with this permit getting approved. The last hiccup, which actually came up at the last minute, to my understanding, after speaking with our contractor, checking on lauder build, mechanical, electric, plumbing, fire, zoning, all approved. Something came up pertaining to environmental last minute. I think it was maybe like a week or so ago. I did speak to the contractor. He's working with the city to see exactly what's needed to get this permit issued. It's obviously an after-the-fact permit, so once these permits get issued, it's going to be immediately called in for the inspections, and we're hoping this is done pretty quickly. We're right there, and I have Albert, who's actually the tenant for the space, who's been working closely with the contractor to make sure we come into compliance.
Is it asbestos?
I'm sorry?
Is that asbestos?
It's not asbestos related. Basically, it's a commercial warehouse that was a change of use. There's a studio that's built in it. Essentially, there was inside the warehouse bay, there was a structure built in there, and we're not touching
Like a
anything.
painting room or something?
It's like a recording.
So that's what the tenant does.
Yes, correct. It's a recording studio, but like I said, we're at the goal line. We're right there. We're just waiting now on this environmental. It's the last piece of the puzzle to get the permit issued.
Will that comply?
Sorry?
Will it comply?
Yes.
Move for 126 days.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Who first and second that motion? Who made
First,
the motion?
second.
Okay, Terry and Bill. Okay,
Chairs are empty.
moving back to page 1. At the bottom, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio. Property address 2505 Southwest 18th Street. Owner Timothy Walsh. Case number BE 231-00010. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard 9/10/24.
So these are all cases that there's no people here.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to say that concluded our respondent. Sorry about that.
So I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged.
Wait.
Is that allowed?
Inspector gets to still talk, guys.
Not
Bill?
what you said.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, presenting case as read.
Hey.
This property was cited for the following violation: Florida Building Code 2023, Section 105.1. The building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: new masonry fence and some electrical work. The permit for the electrical work was already obtained. So the only violation standing is the new masonry fence.
Can I ask a question? Is that fence for flooding?
Yeah.
That
Come
concrete?
again?
Is that concrete wall for flooding?
That's why he did it, yes. The property started getting flooded, and he did that to prevent the water coming in.
From the neighbors?
Yes, the water was coming from the street
or
and the
rotting
neighboring
the bottom of the fence?
Come again?
Or rotting the bottom of the fence if it was all the way to the ground?
It was actually coming from the street through his driveway and then going all across his house.
Okay.
Does that require a foundation or a footer?
A footer, yeah.
It doesn't have a footer.
Does that
It
actually,
might have it.
does that actually work?
He said it's actually working. Yeah.
No, that whole area got 2 feet.
These properties
Yeah, they all got 2 feet.
a lot lower than the road. They have some flooding issues in that area.
And the road?
No, the houses, the whole
No,
area.
no, I meant flooding is from the road?
No, it's
from
just
other
flooding,
houses?
just flooding.
Just flooding.
This case was opened on October 2nd, 2023. Inspection report was mailed to the property owner on October 4th, 2023. Final notice was mailed to the property owner on January 24th, 2024. Notice of hearing was posted at the property on September 10, 2024. City is asking the board to find that the violation exists and to grant the property owner 126 days to come into compliance or a fine of $50 per day thereafter.
I have one more question. How does he get in his driveway with a fence?
How is he getting what?
Because if he's got this all the way around his house, how does he get in his driveway?
No, the driveway is away from that. It's a big lot, so
Okay, so he parks on the outside
yes.
for his driveway, and then this is closer to the house.
Closer to the house. That's pretty close to the house.
My
yes.
first.
I have
It's all
another
around
question.
the house.
I have another question, Inspector. Have you been in contact with the property owner?
Yeah.
And?
There is permits applied for, but he's trying to do it as an owner builder. So there have been a lot of hiccups because it's not an easy. It's not a
Classic-
common situation.
It's not a classic configuration.
Yes.
So I have another question. So he built this wall, which is a foot high. How tall is this wall?
It's probably
18 inches.
foot and a half to 2 feet high.
And it's all the way around.
All around the house.
Is that?
It's called a moat.
Is that a safety hazard?
No. Yeah, you trip over
If
it.
you are asking for an opinion, I wouldn't say it's a safety hazard.
It's like having bushes all the way around.
So it's a
your
1.5
rose
foot fence, or is that a fence that requires a footer? Well, we don't know. That's what the permit process
He
is for.
plans to put an actual fence on top of that thing.
That'll be
Yeah.
another one. All right, I have a motion.
Go ahead.
I move that we find for the city a violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by 1/28/2025, or amount of $50 per day for violation would be imposed and recorded.
Second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It passes.
I want to see the end of this one.
Yeah, I do too.
Our next case
I bet there's more of that.
is on page 3, Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez, property address 2470 Southwest 21st Street, case number BE 2402-0105, owner Jungle Queens, Inc.
So I said move.
Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: new tiki hut with electrical and plumbing, new fire suppression system, and new kitchen hood. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter, and they already applied for the permit.
They did or they didn't?
They did.
It's one of the new kiosks over at Bahia.
Is this somebody's home?
No.
No, these are
Jungle
kiosks
Queen.
that they built outside of Bahia, I believe.
How was this illegal work discovered?
No, this was a Jungle
We
Queen, guys.
received a complaint. I think with old cook.
No, it's all
Really?
the way up the river.
Oh, the one up the river it is. Oh, I thought it was one down by Bahia.
No, not by you.
Okay. Oh, I got it, okay.
Do we get to have him keep the bridges up so we don't, every time?
Part of the deal.
So
All right.
did we have a motion and everyone agreed and everyone read it? It's new business, guys.
I didn't hear it. I move that we find for the city a violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by 1/28/2025, 2025, or amount of $100 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
We have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It passes.
Our next
should be
case,
ashamed of
property
themselves.
address 1030 Iroquois Ave, owner Stanley A. Hughley, case number BE 24020166, notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new fence. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter, and the permit was applied for and is ready for pickup.
New business, guys. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed, passes.
Moving on to page 4, property address 1400 Riverland Road, owner Indiana Perez, case number BE 24020183, notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: carport was enclosed with durock. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
The lady who needs a board up should find them.
From March? This is from March?
I think so.
The picture was taken March 10th. Person on a week ago, 2 weeks ago. He gave him time to comply, is what happened.
By the time they send out the fines and stuff.
It's weird. All right. I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, that we order the property owners to come into compliance by 1/28/2025, or an amount of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Nobody opposed, passes.
Page 4, property address 2325 Northeast 8th Street, owner Ted Dowding, case number BE 24040108, notice posted at the property on 9/5/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: a new awning. I reviewed the case on 9/18/2024, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
I move the violation exists. I move we find for the city and the violation exists alleged. We order the property owners to come in compliance by January 28th. A fine in the amount of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
Is that a new construction, that house?
No.
All that agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes.
Our next case is, on page 5, property address 1236 Northwest 16th Street, case number BE 24040187, owner IAG Foundation, Inc., notice posted at the property 9/9/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard on 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: complete remodel, interior walls, roof structure, bathrooms, kitchen, electricity, including mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and structural. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Dog have a license?
Do I have a motion? It's new business, guys.
I move that we find for the city and the violation exists as alleged, and that we order the property owners to come into compliance by January 28th, 2025, or a fine of $50 per day per violation will be imposed and recorded.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
Our next case is also on page 5. Property address 1617 Southwest 5th Street. Owner, Broward Luxury Properties, LLC. Case number BE24040208. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, presenting case as read. This building has been illegally altered and construction work illegally performed without obtaining the required permits in the following manner, but not limited to: concrete pool deck, new deck, windows, door, electrical, bathroom, kitchen, chain link fence. I reviewed the case on 9/18/24, at which time I verified the violation remains. The city will request 126 days to comply or a fine of $50 a day thereafter.
Any communication, Inspector, with the property owner?
No,
Do they respond to your...
no, nothing.
I got a question. You're busting these people on the MLS, right? Just trolling the MLS for violations?
No, this case, I'm not sure where it came from, so I can check.
Okay.
It's a lot of work, a lot of money to do it without a permit. All
New
right.
business, guys.
I move that we find for the city a violation exists as alleged, that we order the property owner to come into compliance by 1/28/2025, or a fine of in the amount of $50 per day per violation would be imposed and recorded.
All agree, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No. Pass.
Page 7, Senior Inspector Jose Sergusti. Property address 2325 Northwest 15th Court. Owner Dario Humberto Castillo, Fabiano Guzman. Case number BE23030256. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 11/28/23. To comply by 1/30/24, one section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There are 4 extensions noted.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. The city requesting the case returned as a massey. Sorry? Not recently, but the case already have extensions, 4 extensions.
Okay. At the
Anyway,
bottom,
in the meantime, if they have the permit issue, we will close the case.
This is a long time.
okay, the bottom of page 7, property address 1432 Northeast 2nd Ave, case number BE23050058. Owner Ronaldo W. Nova and Jeffrey R. Austin. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard on 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 10/24/23 to comply by 11/28/23. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to amend the 7/23/24 comply by date from 7/23/24 to 7/30/24. There are 4 extensions noted.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. The city is requesting the case returned as a massey.
I make a motion to amend the compliance date of 7/23/24 to 7/30/24.
Thank you.
Second.
Is this a Massey? Is that the
We
Massey?
just said it for Massey.
Our next case is on page 8. The top, sorry. Property address 2185 Imperial Point Drive. Owner Altus IG Real Estate LLC. Case number BE23120107. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24. Posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not comply. There is one extension noted.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. The city is requesting the case returned as a MASI.
So there's no communication?
Yes, we have communication, but I think they will have the permit before the 4 month for January. Before January.
I move for 126-day extension.
Do I have a second? All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It passes.
The bottom of page 8, property address 2710 Northeast 49th Street, case number BE 24030016, owner A 49th Street LLC, notice posted at the property on 9/5/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24 to comply by 9/24/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied.
Jose Saragusti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case number as read. The case is not complied. The city is requesting 126-day extension.
I need a motion.
Question. I take it you've been in touch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I move for 126-day extension.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It passes.
Thank you.
Page 9 at the top. Property, Senior Inspector Alejandro Del Rio, property address 2610 East Marina Bay Drive, owner Falls at Marina Bay LP, case number BE 24020193, notice posted at the property on 9/3/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/30/24 to comply by 9/24/24. One section at $100 per day, order recorded, not complied.
$100 a day for a sliding glass door.
Yeah, I did that. This is on the 5th floor.
Sorry, Tasha, which one is it?
Set for Massey.
2016.
They in touch at all?
It's a big
Okay,
corporation that owns this guy.
Didn't we
agree.
read that already?
Set for Massey?
I don't know. What do you recommend?
Tasha, we didn't. Wasn't that heard already?
No, I called it, but the respondent left.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. The property manager was here this morning. She said that they will obtain the permit. They tried to pull the permit for the new sliding glass door, but then they found out that it wasn't a storm door, so they have to replace the door. So they are going to be pulling the permit to replace the door. That's what she said. I leave
Do
it.
an extension.
Yeah, I will. Move for 126-day extension. She should have stuck around, though, right?
Well, she might have gotten a call. Another door fell out. Do I have a second?
Somebody fell out the bed.
Yeah. And all agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Passes.
Page 10 at the top, property address 720 Southeast 15th Street, owner Frank Parator, case number BE 221-00008. Yeah. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Broward Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 7/25/23 to comply by 10/24/23. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. There are 5 extensions noted.
What's complied?
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. There have been no progress. They have an application submitted, but it needs corrections since March, and I haven't heard from them.
First started a year ago, over a year ago. Jeff Massey.
Property address 200 South Birch Road, number 90 Somasi. Number 906, case number BE 2308 0198, owner Lutfi in Aden. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Brow Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. There is one extension noted.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. They have an application in process. They have been having problems with the asbestos certificate from the county, but they have been in contact with me. They are working on it.
Moved for a 126-day extension.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. Passes.
Property address 403 Southwest 17th Street, owner Trista Boyenga, case number BE 2308-0336. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Brow Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 3/26/24 to comply by 5/28/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. There are two extensions noted.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. No progress on this case. Haven't heard from them.
This property's been appeared before the board before, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Same with the same owner?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, it's set for Massey. Is there any way to turn the AC like warmer, or turn the fan off?
We all freezing.
Oh, really? You probably have to go ask the
Start a
people
fire?
downstairs.
I think there's a right behind the door there. What's that behind the door?
Oh, I don't know. Bottom of page 10, property address 709 Southwest 4th Court, owner DBAC Investments 4 LLC, case number BE 23120059. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24, posted at 1 East Brow Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. There is one extension noted.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. No progress on this case. They submitted an application, a permit application back in June without any plans, and nothing else had happened.
I don't know.
So no communication?
Okay,
No.
Bessie.
Okay.
Next.
Without all those bodies in here.
All right, 1820 South Northwest 3rd Court, case number BE 23070183, owner Livoria Swanson, homestead exempt, Albert Lee Jones. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 11/28/23 to comply by 1/30/24, one section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. Senior Inspector Jorge Martinez. There are four extensions noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. City is requesting for a 126-day extension. The permits are ready for pickup.
Okay. Move for 126-day extension.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'm sorry, when the permits are ready for
Pickup.
When, how long have they been ready?
No, I don't know.
I have a first, I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Page 13,
She was
at the
posted
top,
on the-
property address 1737
posted.
Northeast 1st Street, case number BE 2308-0288.
I did that.
Owner Jeremy and Janet Webby, Edward P. and Kimberly R. Jackson. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Brown Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 1/30/24 to comply by 3/26/24. One section at $50 per day, order recorded, not complied. There are three extensions noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. They're still working on the permit application. I don't know why they didn't came. I was hoping for them. So the city won't oppose to an extension.
Move for a 126-day extension.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No, passes.
The bottom of page
Does it-
13,
Opposed.
property address 651 Northeast 19th Ave, Case number BE 23110081, owner Vincent F. Jr. and Teresa Pyle. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There is one extension noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. The city is requesting for a 126-day extension. They already applied for the permit.
Move for 126-day extension.
All agree, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? No. Passes.
Page 14 at the top. Property address 37 Castle Harbor Isle. Case number BE 23120111. Owner Judy Wade. Notice posted at the property on 8/27/24. Posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 5/28/24 to comply by 7/30/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. There is one extension noted.
Inspector Martinez, on behalf of the city, case number and address as read. Case is not in compliance. One permit is ready for pickup, and they're missing one of the permits, the paver permit.
When was that permit issued, ready for pickup? Do you know?
No, but it was recently.
Recently?
Yeah.
I move for 126-day extension.
Second.
All agree, say aye. Aye. Nobody opposes. Passes.
She probably thought it was okay to that.
Moving on to page 16, it's a hearing to impose fines. Property address 11 Southwest 24th Street, owner 11 West State Road 84 LLC. Case number BE 22110056. Notice posted at the property on 9/10/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 1/30/24 to comply by 3/26/24. One section at $50 per day. Order recorded, complied. City is imposing fines of $3,100. There are two extensions noted.
Jose Sarauti, building inspector for the city, presenting the case as read. The case is complied. The city is requesting administrative fees of $1,731.71, the administration fees.
Is that for paperwork and? That's a different.
Yeah.
All right, I move that we find for that the violations were not complied with by the date order, and that we impose a fine of, what was the number?
$1,731.71.
$1,731.71?
Yes, correct.
For which the property, for the days which the property was not in compliance.
Second.
No. Which one were we at? What's the address? Oh, this one, yeah.
At the top.
Yes, sir. The city only wants a certain amount of fines. They don't want all of it.
Right, they just want the paperwork and the time for the inspector. So that's.
Yeah, we had a motion.
I'll second it.
I have a second. All agree, say aye.
Aye.
It is done.
Thank you.
Moving on to page 17 at the bottom, property address 1624 Northwest 17th Lane, owner Do Capital Group LLC, case number BE 23060135. Notice posted at the property on 9/9/24, posted at 1 East Broad Boulevard, 9/10/24. This case was first heard on 1/30/24 to comply by 3/26/24. Two sections at $50 per day. Order recorded, not complied. The city is requesting to impose fines of $5,500, which continues to accrue. The city is also requesting to amend the 7/23/24 complied by date from 7/23/24 to 7/30/24. There's one extension noted.
Building Inspector Alejandro Del Rio for the city, updating case as read. There have been no progress, no contact on this case.
No contact?
No.
is a
It's
mess.
a mess.
We first have to move the comply date from 7/23 to 7/30, correct?
Correct?
Yes.
I move for that.
Now you have to impose fines or give them an extension. That's all you get.
January, I'm looking at it. Doors capital. Single family, oh, no. I move that I move that we find that the violations were not complied with by the date ordered, and therefore that we impose a fine of, what she said,
$5,500.
$5,500 per violation as stated in the first order.
And continue to
And
accrue.
I'm sorry, and continue to accrue.
Yeah, he already changed the date.
Second.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
They're not doing anything. This is a
No, they're
conversion of fourplexes.
At this
All
time, the
agree.
city is requesting to have all the cases listed on page 19 into the record as closed.
So move.
12?
Yeah.
Did I get a motion for that one?
I need a
move.
motion.
I so move.
Second.
To enter all the cases on page 12 is closed.
Thank you. I get a second?
Second.
I got a second. All agree, say aye. Aye. It approved?
Thank you. And we also have the minutes to be approved from the July Code Enforcement Board hearing.
I move we approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All agree, say aye.
Aye.
Passes.
At
Case
this time,
black.
is there any business for the city?
Who's got the blue pen?
That's twice for you.
I have one question. For the building the wall around your house for flood, could you get any insurance rebates or anything like that? I know that. That's called mold.
Yeah, I was wondering if the rain comes off the house.
So you're saying will the insurance company give you a rebate for having it?
I don't know.
They may charge extra.
No, I don't.
I have a question for you.
Board, do we have any new business?
Wait.
I have a
He
question.
needs a blue ink for this, please.
The one with the 17, I'm not going to ask about the case itself.
The
But
17 one.
The 17 units versus 11.
Oh, yeah, 11.
Is the real estate agent hold any responsibility for that? It's a
No,
commercial
not
property?
because of the insurance. What my thing is, you have one unit here and one unit.
No, I know exactly what it was.
No. You have one unit
Yeah.
here, one unit here, long-term tenants?
Yeah. Why can't they
For
have
the
both?
presentation?
Yeah, we do.
Maybe 5-minute break so that we can set up.
The other thing is, let the one tenant that's there a long time, have the two unit.
Of course.
In other words, you still have rent coming in.
Then they're in
Vacate it.
compliance. Yeah, then they're in compliance. I agree. I just wanted.
Why vacate it? Just comply.
I was wondering the same thing. That's why I wasn't too kind about it, because there were simple fixes to that she
Yes,
wasn't
but I
doing.
couldn't, but you and I have been in real estate. I can't help. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know if they had any obligation to let them know it's only 7 units, only 11 units.
Oh, as a
Do they hold
agent?
any responsibility for the agency? They should have known about that. It's a
it ma-
commercial property.
It matters how the marketing was. If the marketing
Can you please turn your mic on?
Sorry. Fellow board members, chairwoman, I know we have spent a lot of time with cases, and you must be running out of patience. I'd like to share an internal discussion among the board members about something that I've been thinking about, and I'd like to get your feedback. It relates to Felicia, if you can follow with the title. It's about a case for a more connected, proactive, accountable code enforcement policy across our city. I have been, as a community leader, I've been secretary of my civic association for the past 5 years, worked with code enforcement, among other resources from the city. I've talked to different district community leaders, and I think it's worth reflecting beyond our everyday duties as the code enforcement board upon how we can have a more connected, proactive, and accountable code enforcement policy across the city. The goal of that is to make us have a conversation, and possibly, you will see at the end of the presentation, possibly have a communication or request to the city commission, if you agree with the idea, and we would work further on that. So the second, Felicia, the second slide, so we can tap on so I'm going to briefly remind you of the context of code enforcement ordinance and the spirit, implementation between reactive and proactive. Second, I will cover a little bit of perspective, experience as a civic association in District 1, working with code enforcement on several fronts. Policy examples from other cities across America that I've been researching. Also some stats across our city that were made available by DSD. And question about the scope of what we could do as a code enforcement board and our mission. Then we will cover key questions that I'd like to discuss with you. Is the current balance between proactive and reactive code enforcement good enough for all? How do we recognize the objectives in terms of performance and the delivery? And do we have metrics of success? And last but not least, how can the board impact the policy and work with city commission and see leadership on that? So next slide, please. And there will be an action point at the end. So let's move on. So the definition, the founding principle of code enforcement for Lauderdale, code ordinance. If you want to go to the next click, please. Next. The C mission statement, according to the different publication from the city, the code of ordinance and the compliance goal as per the website, it's guarantee a system that will provide equitable, expeditious, efficient, and effective made-over enforcement. From that, you can think the question in general, and not only for the city of Fort Lauderdale, is are we too reactive? Are we too proactive? So it's always a balance. And if we can click next. Go ahead. If we are too reactive, there is a lack of enforcement, deteriorating standards and habits, decreased property value that has an impact. Stop, please. And a decreased morale and professional standards. On the other hand, if we are very proactive, it's too much policing. It's extreme details according to an HOA, to the point of the length of the grass, fatigue from residents, high operational costs, obviously, for code enforcement resources, and risk of bias towards disadvantaged areas. So that leads to, at the bottom, how to maintain a minimum standard and consistency across neighborhoods that will preserve residents' property value, because that's important to everybody, but at an overall efficient operational cost level. So I'm going to talk about my hands-on experience from a civic association in District 1. By 2021, we noticed that after the pandemic, there was a degradation in our neighborhood in terms of code standards. You can continue, please.
In 2022, we reached out to city managers, Portia Williams, leadership, supervisors. We had meetings. We requested basically that they make sure that there is a better enforcement and quarterly reports on the case they covered in our area. And we noticed a bit of more of activity in 2023, but also some incidents that we were not really happy about, and I will develop that later on. No, that's too fast. In 2023, we expanded the work and the collaboration with code enforcement because we have an idea of working with code enforcement proactively as community leaders and helping them doing their job. And we expanded with the FLPD the work on commercial properties along Federal Highway. I will tell you why, because our area is actually very central, sensitive to that area. So we got an average reported 10 to 12 cases per year for our 150 homes. We're a small community, but we have lots of rental homes, and especially we had them even more during the pandemic. Most of them, the cases were marked closed or complied within a few days. That's historically, for the past 2 years of our collaboration, what I've noticed on most cases. Most of the time, inspectors allocated to our area didn't seem to use all the details provided in the case that we precisely lodged in Louderbuild. You know, there is an application now, but there used to be a website where you could actually lodge all the details, even pictures, etc. And I noticed that a lot of time in the feedback that they posted on compliance or non-compliance, they didn't seem to incorporate or acknowledge those information we provided. Felicia, if you can go to the bottom of the page. So most cases were closed within 2 days, but we noticed and we informed code enforcement on very informally on a regular basis that follow-up or resolution was not there in many cases. So that's our experience. Next slide. So we had and I'm not going to insist on that, but we had a lot of meetings with different stakeholders, inspectors to our area, and they changed, supervisors, Portia Williams, Katrina Jordan. So we really wanted to work with them, and we did. And we established a relationship, which is, we want to help each other. Bottom of the slide. Felicia, yeah. So the problem is, in the application of things, we noticed that lots of our neighbors complained that the inspectors said that it was the secretary or the president of the civic association who was reporting them, namely, which was a little, disappointing, and it pits the neighbors against us for wanting a little bit better code enforcement to their benefit. But they took it personally. So we had to redress and explain, and supervisors at code enforcement accepted that, and they said it shouldn't have happened, that the inspectors were only doing their job, and they didn't need to say that it came from the Coral Civic Association. Or they could say the Coral Civic Association is working with us to enforce, because that's called law enforcement. So to the bottom of the slide, Felicia. So
I don't mean to interrupt your presentation, but I just want to clarify just one thing. State law for the last 3 years now requires, if we're asked, and in order to investigate, we have to have a complainant.
I'm aware of that, Wanda. Okay. And I accepted that, and we discussed it. There's a difference between saying this is from Oliver Kale, your neighbor, and saying we're working with the civic association community leaders to have a better enforcement, and they help us point out where the problems are. And by the way, some of the neighbors, I was not at the origin of the pointing, the code enforcement officers saw it because that's their job.
Right.
So I understand the non-anonymous side of it. But I think the message was, we're not trying to fool the neighbor next door out of, spite or revenge. And I think that sent the wrong message, and that pit us against our residents. And I think that's a bad consequence.
Right. I wanted to just add, though, there's a nuance, because it seems like you're talking about municipal code enforcement a little bit, which this board doesn't hear, and the inspectors that are here don't handle municipal code, as you know. Those do require, under state law, a complainant with an address. If it is building code, Florida building code, cases, our office, well, I've opined, and our office has agreed, our office agrees with me that you do not need a complainant because it's a life safety issue inherently, as Joe said earlier in the hearing. So there's nuances. If it's municipal code, which goes to magistrate, never comes before here, it does need a complainant and an address. If it's Florida Building Code, it does not. You can be anonymous and make that complaint.
I think we're very clear on that. Just the feedback of the experience on the non-building aspect of it is the message should have been from the beginning, and supervisors from code enforcement agreed on that the message should be the civic association is working with the inspectors to get a better enforcement overall. And sometimes there is a case that's pointed to by somebody specifically, and it's not a problem to disclose, but it's not always the case. So I think the bigger picture was not to pin the community leaders against the neighbors, thinking that it was a personal thing. It's about code enforcement in general. So I think we had a rather poor experience and record, and the president, who also is my partner, could attest of that. And we're not negative about it. We just want to make it better in the future. I've had conversation about that with Chris Cooper, not yet with Al Battle, and I have a conversation with other city officials about that. So we're going to try to work together to get a better result on the ground. Next slide, please. So I'm going to detail very quickly, because I have all the examples. We don't need to get into nitty-gritty, but I have examples of residential closer inspection that were promised by code enforcement, and that still are unresolved 2 years later after working with them and having specific cases open and closed, not complied or not resolved. So boats on unapproved surfaces, sometimes several boats, obviously most of the time abandoned, non-insured, so that's not compliant, but to this day, we still have most of them, so we didn't have resolved after 2 years of that. Next, we have a common offense, which is abandoned cars in driveways or parked on unapproved surfaces. There are many addresses in there. We have, following animation, we had construction sites going on for 5 years, pre-pandemic, with not proper fencing. So the inspectors saw that, and they had built, large cases, but yet the offense still remained years after year. So next, please. That's the rental properties with the trash that stays for 5 days, the car that park from the rental property, or the property owner of the rental property parked across the street on the grass of the neighbor. Literally on the grass, you see the white car. And those have been the object of a citation, but it keeps occurring over and over again. So that means that we need to have code enforcement help us to get resolved all the time. It's not easy, it's not simple, but we need to have this resilience and not give up, because that's our daily life and that's our neighbors, it's our property value. Next, please. So on the commercial side, we have actually also worked with FLPD, the previous NAT teams and their new version, to curb the back of commercial properties on Federal Highway between Oakland Park Boulevard and 26th Street. It's a very intense area in terms of vagrants, homelessness, and lots of unwanted side effects, prostitution, drug dealing, crime. It's a hot spot. It's getting a little better after a year of collaboration with FLPD, and code enforcement has helped us cite the commercial properties. We do business, make money, but never pay attention too much to their responsibility and the impact it has on our residents. You see on the white line across from the yellow area, the white line is houses on the canal, and I live in one of those houses. Some of our neighbors who have two girls under 8 had their girls witness the first sexual act across the canal in the back of commercial properties. because it's not fenced, the trespassing is wild, and there is all kinds of bad stuff happening. So we tried working with FLPD and code enforcement, and code enforcement helped us a lot to make sure that those property owners, commercial property owners, do their part in preventing trespassing, vagrant, and all crime associated with it, because it's prostitution, there's a lot of domestic violence and bad stuff that we are facing. So we've worked with them. Felicia, if you want to continue. I'm not going to get into the detail, but you have lots of motels, you have car washes, you have even Tesla. But those people don't seem to care about the back of their commercial properties and the trespassing and the consequences it has on our daily life and property value. Next slide, please. So we're going to go fast. You can click. But those are examples on the commercial side of offenses that are not resolved after many, many cases. Sometimes you see for the Tesla property, 4 cases open in 2 years for the same offense. The last one was still pending, not assigned after 5 months in July 2024. I don't think it has changed since then. But the point I'm trying to make is that despite the involvement in code enforcement, the cases are closed or complied, or sometimes ordered as follow-up, but it doesn't change the reality on the ground, and we don't seem to have leverage on what changed. Coming from a fence or a wall or something, I mean, we get carts and crap in the canal, and every one of our residents suffers from that. So we tried also on the commercial side, and FLPD has been very, very helpful. Next slide. So some of their reports, by the way, in code enforcement that were sent, you can click. Our noted case complied and closed, and click. And the reality on the ground, I'm sorry, I thought it would be a bit bigger screen, but on the left, the reality on the ground is that those cases are not resolved, and I don't know why they were complied or coded closed, whereas the reality has not changed. Let's go click. So 66% of cases open were immediately complied, closed, and many of them still actually unresolved on the ground 1 year later on the commercial side. On the residential side, we have worked for 2 years with code enforcement. Click. I'd like to submit to you that when we look at other cities, like Charlotte in North Carolina, different population, 900,000, Covington in Georgia, I tried to get a benchmark of cities our size, bigger or smaller. So you have Miami Beach, you have Tampa, with the city budgets that they have. And, sometimes it's $1 billion, sometimes it's $150 million, with the number of city employees they have, and sometimes the number of city code enforcement resources they have, inspectors on the ground. Click. And they all seem in their statement on their website and from the news that we can gather that smaller or bigger, they aim for performance, results. And they talk about results, efficiency felt by the community. So what about our city? I'd like to really come to the point of, so another example, the city of Tampa, if you can click, of course it's a bigger city, it's twice the number of population and the budget is twice, but 76% of cases are officers driven. They're not coming from a complaint. In the city of Tampa, that's twice as big as we are. Tyler, Texas, smaller city, the city budget is $100 million. It's a different scale, but look at the numbers they cover. Click. Almost 8,000 cases handled by 6 case officers. As a reference point, the city of Fort Lauderdale handles 10,000 cases. Hold on, Felicia. The city of Fort Lauderdale handles 10,000 cases with 33 inspectors. So granted, there are different cases, and they are building, they are code enforcement, residential, commercial, but at the high level of big numbers, there's even more reinspection than initial inspection for a city like Tyler in Texas. So it's always interesting to see some other examples as a benchmark, not only look at our city by itself. Next slide. So when I look at the city of Fort Lauderdale, and I met with many leaders, including Chris Cooper, who was very open to these questions and want to work with us, and hopefully in his new position he will continue doing that with Al Battle. We have some numbers that were provided by the city of Fort Lauderdale, by Chris Cooper. Click, please. So the number of cases, 10,000, which amounts to 850 monthly. The detail per district is not that important. Click. But it averages 27 cases per month per inspector. And we have an annual 4.5 million cost center, and the resources, the revenues is 1.5. So that's a net 3 million cost center per year for the city of Fort Lauderdale. What's interesting is in the past 3 years, you have those 3 bars. Click, please. In 3 years, the expenditures rose to 6%, and the revenues were down 22%. So that's a little concerning because the equation is not going to be the same. Overall numbers seem to indicate relatively well-funded code enforcement compared to other cities our size, but high cost and high cost revenue ratio. I wonder about the effectiveness, the coverage, and the proactivity. So that's a question that we'd like to review with code enforcement leadership. Next. The essential takeaways from other cities and the CE benchmarks is our current balance in Fort Lauderdale reactive versus proactive good enough? Is it constantly delivered across all the district and neighborhood? Second, is our city appropriately budgeted staff to deliver consistent level of enforcement? Do we have enough inspectors to guarantee that there is enough proactivity and result on the ground? That's a legitimate question. It's not necessarily the quality of the work of the people who are there, but do we have the resources necessary? And that's a question for the City Commission as well. Maybe we are underfunded, or maybe we are well-funded. It's a matter of optimizing the budget, organizing, and maybe leadership. 3, what best metrics of success and efficiency? How do we know that we're performing well? Is that the number of cases treated or the number of cases resolved versus treated? Is that the budget ratio of the code enforcement versus the population? Is that the population versus the number of cases? And the satisfaction index or the survey from community leaders who say, like me, we work well together, we need more results. So we need best metrics of success, and even with Chris Cooper, I didn't get really a clear answer as to what those metrics are. And I think they need to be defined, even as Chris Cooper agreed. And last but not least, so where does the city of Fort Lauderdale stand in code enforcement performance on an objective benchmark scale? Objective is the key word. And what are the targets and objectives? Because maybe we reach them, or maybe we don't reach them, and maybe we need to do better. So that's a question. That's an open question. The key strategic question we can go further, that's a little repetitive. It's the consequences in terms of how we do organize better. Do we have the appropriate leadership, the appropriate culture, the tools? I'm going to say a word about the tools. Further down, please. Further down. Okay, so in terms of tools, lots of cities use different software available on the market that help code enforcement be more efficient, cover more cases with less inspectors, and make sure that there is resolve, not only follow-up, but resolve. One of the software is called Comcate. Lots of cities across country use it. I'm not married to them. I don't even know them, but I went to their website because I know they're utilized by different cities, bigger or smaller. Next. So Comcate is an example, a software tool that, next, that focuses on compliance, not penalties. Hold on. Engage with the community to increase education, because that can be key. We might have less case and citations if the public understand that when you have a fence, you need a permit first. So educating and helping engage with the community through the community leadership, but also with the population is important. And it can increase efficiency in terms of capacity and focus. So the city of Florence in Kentucky has a smaller budget, and they say that they covered much more. I can't remember what's that. Increasing their overall capacity. The second city that I noticed, if you click, is the city of Orem in Utah. It's 100,000 inhabitants, 120 city employees, a budget relatively limited of $140 million compared to our budget. But they say they manage a lot more cases than they were managing in the past thanks to that software. So maybe this is a kind of tool that can help with the same resources, the same budget, to be more efficient and get better results for us residents, taxpayers, or community leaders. Next. So what about my presentation today with this board? So just so you know, as a community leader, as a resident, I decided to work with code enforcement and to try to push that, those kind of questions so that we can do better together. And I'm part of the solution, as I don't want to be part of the problem. But I think it would have been unfair being on the code enforcement board, even though it's not typical of the work we do, adjudicating 200 building cases per year, some heavy, some serious, but most of them are light, AC unit, wooden fences, etc. How can we step back as a code enforcement board on overall policy, affect change toward a more effective and focused upstream code enforcement vision? And you can decide that it's not our job, or you can decide that it's a good thing to share, and the end result or the objective, next please, is what we do about this idea. I'd like to submit a discussion, a common position asked to the City Commission, draft a communication that will be shorter than that. This is more to share with you. Meet with city leaders to better understand, define the approach and the metrics of success. Set up regular communication. In one word, at the bottom, if you want, Felicia, it's establish a more proactive working relationship, interactive between the board, the city management, and the code enforcement resources at a strategic level, not only building case number, blah, 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 and how much fine and how many days. To that effect, next slide, I thought of a specific ask to the City Commission, in which format. It can be a note, it can be a presentation. Hold on, you a little fast. First, we suggest that go back, please, Felicia. First, we suggest that the Commission step back and consider city policy position, orientation, basically what degree of proactivity we'd like or would we recommend through a special task committee. So we would form a special committee, probably composed of some of those members present today and willing and interested, probably code enforcement leadership, maybe some other community leaders from different districts. And this, next please, this committee would conduct a review of other cities' policy benchmark. I haven't contacted other city officials to ask what they do. I gathered my research, but we could also have more dialogue with some of the cities that we think are doing really great. We could have established current metrics used by the Fort Lauderdale Code Enforcement, which again, I haven't seen, except for big numbers that I shared with you before, but in terms of do we have more case resolved or more case closed, and what is the impact on the community? We could have a potential new structure of metrics of performance, maybe better defined, and how do we manage and organize, maybe with the software, our resources better. Next. The committee would actually work with the stakeholders on that and would draft a recommendation towards improvement. I'm sure there is improvement everywhere. And last but not least, we would continue to work with the CE code enforcement leadership to implement recommendation and possibly report back to the Commission with results and say, hey, with the same budget or less budget, we were more effective by 17% this year versus last year. Or maybe we can say to the Commission, we don't have the resources appropriate for better results. We need more code enforcement resources. So that would be the role of that committee. And I think as a code enforcement board, some of you might be interested in partaking. I will personally continue my quest to have a better code enforcement for our city at my level, for my district, for my community. I think other communities, from my talk to other community leaders, have the same questions. So I think it's a good idea that some of you might be interested in partaking to this ask to the City Commission and forming a committee. Next, please. That's the point of the discussion today. If you'd like to have a Q&A or if you have some ideas and some reactions.
Do you have a time frame on this?
I think it's interesting, an interesting time because there is a change of leadership currently because of the city manager has been replaced. There is an acting city manager. I'm meeting with Susan Grant and our commissioner and Al Battle and Chris Cooper next week. To address that, I wanted the Code Enforcement Board to be informed and not be blindsided. I think as a member, it was a basic courtesy to share that with you. I think it would be great to engage together. I think the fact that there will be a new leadership, a new city commission in November, is a good opportunity to sort of refresh and reset. So I'd like to be able to have an ask to the city commission, maybe for the new city commission, maybe in January, but that would require a little bit of debate and work together in the meantime.
Does the city feel that they need additional resources or manpower when it comes to code enforcement at this time? Are you overwhelmed with violations and processing?
I don't think anyone here is capable of answering that sort of broad-based question.
Yeah.
And again, nobody's here from code enforcement. A lot of code enforcement was talked about, but Joe is over building code enforcement.
Yeah.
So
Seems to me that this is a commissioner issue for your area because it's not an HOA, a civic association, which I appreciate that and your passion and your research. But I think your local commissioner would be the first one to address and let him run on that board, on that policy.
So I would compliment that statement from talking to other community leaders across the different districts. There are some questions. So I don't think it's a District 1 issue only.
No, of course not. But a commissioner may run on it.
And I'm going to answer as well on the fact that I've been talking to my commissioner, and he doesn't feel like it's only his role. I think he relies on community leaders and representative residents like me to actually help raise those concerns. So it's not an or, it's an and. I agree with you.
No, I agree. Our role in this board doesn't encompass any of
So
this.
you notice that I suggested that you are informed of that.
I agree.
And I would like to form a committee to request to the City Commission or suggest that we form a committee. And some of you who might be interested in expanding their horizon and feel that it's relevant to their own district or own community could be part of that. I didn't feel it was a
that may have to be vetted because there may be a conflict of interest there. So our office would have to look at that because you guys are the enforcement board. So to step away from that and sort of get into the weeds of actions of the city leading up to the enforcement, it's just something we need to talk about.
I agree with that, and honestly, I'm raising questions right now. I wanted to share this content with you first, before my meeting with next week with city officials and the commissioner. I think it's only fair that the people who are interested on this board to go further and move with me, contact me, and I guess then we can decide whether or not it's a legitimate and relevant ask.
Noted.
Another question?
I'd like to learn more. That's all I'm going to be right now.
So I have a question for you, Rhonda.
Yes.
There are sunshine laws that applies to the scope of every board, right? So can we discuss, is this part of the scope of the Code Enforcement Board, or is it outside of the scope, the original statute, or the scope of this Code Enforcement Board to discuss that among board members.
Well, your board counsel may have also an opinion, but I mean, to me, this is a little outside of it, based upon, you know, what the board is charged with, obviously, which is acting as a fact finder, and, you know, it's a quasi-judicial board, in essence, to make those determinations if violations exist and to impose fines and such. I'd have to look at, haven't looked at this section in a long time, but it again, if you're talking about municipal code enforcement, my opinion would be, yes, it's a little outside of your scope. If we're talking about your comments as it relates to building code enforcement, I would just say my preliminary response would be maybe. And I'd like to, you know, further study the code just to make sure that I'm, you know, 100% accurate, because my head's a little stuffy also.
What does our board attorney feels about that?
I agree with what Rhonda's saying. I think it maybe is more appropriate until everybody has an opportunity to kind of dig more into the specifics now that they've seen what you're presenting. There are different components and possible conflicts. So I do think that I as well would need to maybe look into it. I think if you narrow the scope for today, what is the specific ask? Because it may mean that Rhonda may not have to do more if we could narrow down the specific ask. Are you asking the board to discuss certain questions? Are you asking for them to vote on you taking certain questions to your commissioner? What is your ask?
So the ask, as I put it on the last slide, is twofold. To decide, to debate and get your feedback and your input onto the content of that and the direction of our ask to the City Commission. And the second would be, does the Code Enforcement Board goes to the City Commission asking for, to form a committee towards those questions? I think that's the two practical matters.
And so I think the conflict that Rhonda was referencing is because this is multifaceted, it deals with building and code enforcement, or maybe more pure municipal code enforcement as opposed to building. It may be a different audience, so to speak, that you might ask for input from, because this is more building. But I think for now, if asking the board if they have any input or if they agree or disagree, I don't think that is outside of the scope of today's meeting.
So can I get a sense of how...
I got some feedback. I mean, by trade, I'm a property manager. I've been doing this for the last 15 years. Just not talking about this board, but municipal code, community enhancement. I would not support anything that expands their role, expands their tasks, any kind of committees. Somewhere along the lines, somewhere along time, community enhancement crossed a fine line between enhancing the community and breaking landlords' backs. If you were to ask me, Don, what do you say about expanding their job and scope? I'd tell you it's a horrible idea. Most of the time, people use code enforcement as a weapon. Let's call on the neighbors. Some jackass from some civic association made a code violation on me for a tenant that I had evicted, put furniture on the street. Next thing you know, I'm doing $6,000 worth of work to a property. Guess what? I have to raise rents on all my tenants to eat the $6,000 cost. So if anything, I would, debudget code enforcement. I would, not this board here, but community enhancement.
But see, this is one of the
I would
questions...
defund them, that's the word, defund.
But that's one of the questions that we should raise in terms of what are we getting out of the dollars that we are investing?
Personally, as a landlord,
taxpayers?
I'm getting nothing but headaches, nothing but pains in the butt. I'm to the point, my father's to the point where we're going to sell all of our properties that we've owned since the 70s, just because it's such much a hassle dealing with code enforcement. It's not the same game my grandfather played back in the 70s and 60s. Again, they've crossed the line from doing a job to ball busting. They're straight up ball busting now, man.
So in other words, you're saying they're too proactive and doing too much?
Again, it's they're used as a weapon nowadays. It's not the same. Something happened to the City of Fort Lauderdale Code, Municipal Code, the last several years, and to me, it's not fun dealing with them anymore. I understand it's a game. You have to play the game by the rules. If not, you're going to have City Hall up your butt. So you have to play the game to a certain degree. But again here, the rules have changed, and it's not in favor of landlords and property owners anymore. So if the neighbor called code on me, I would be so pissed off, I wouldn't know where to start. I know how code enforcement works. I would call code on them in retaliation. I would have fines up their ass all the live long day. Two could play that game. To the common citizen, they don't know what they're doing. Someone like me who knows all about code enforcement, I could be a big dick too. I don't want to, but the two could play that game.
So just you understand clearly what I presented, we've been at the receiving end as community leaders who give their time and energy for the past 5 years. We've been at the receiving end of citations from revengeful neighbors. So I know how you feel.
I mean, that again here, code was changed where you have to disclose yourself, and that's the best thing to happen because it makes idiots think twice about calling on their neighbor. I'm going to get even with this guy. Well, I know who you are now.
It's a bad idea, absolutely. But the code enforcement exists to enforce as well.
Again, there's a line that was crossed somewhere along the line that you're not enforcing anymore. You're just ball busting.
You know, I don't think I've ever seen in 6 years that we're doing this, Chris and I and some of the others, ever seen a commercial car park case or a boat park in front of the case. It all sounds like the local inspector issues, and maybe even your commissioner, rather than
But you realize that we have worked a lot with that, so that raises more question about.
I've never seen any of that, even in my own neighborhood.
Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. So I get some feedback from other community leaders that I speak to beyond my district, and they share some similar concerns. So maybe you don't share them, and good for your community.
I would if I was experienced.
Yes.
So I haven't experienced it here, but as a citizen, I can commiserate with you, but I just have no input.
I understand.
And then the input is, have you ever seen this board work together like it has? In the past, it never did. They didn't work together. They yelled and screamed and never, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If I can make a recommendation, I would say maybe do this presentation to the Council of Civics, get some input from them.
I thought about it.
No, definitely. And then you have an overall, if it's a true need for the city versus just a district or a certain section. I don't think we're in a position to make any recommendations or anything at this time. I thank you for your time and for your presentation. It was informative. Learn more. I do like the idea of streamlining, making things maybe easier for everyone. But again, I think we should start maybe at the council, get input of the entire city, all the neighborhoods, and go from there.
So I received the sentiment and I understand it. Is that shared by other board members? So I wanted to give you the courtesy of sharing it with you because I felt it was natural. And you learning that I'm pursuing this kind of conversation without having talked to my fellow board members, I would have not felt right. So I wanted to do it. And I will continue doing it, and we'll just not do it as a code enforcement board.
Anything from you guys?
Can we have this presentation shared?
Well, I think you should reach out to the Civic Council and come as a guest speaker, and give the presentation to them.
Would you like to receive it to further review what we just saw today, or?
Yeah, I'll pass it.
Okay. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
This concludes our September 24, 2024 Code Enforcement Board hearing. Thank you.